Yes, hallelujah. Welcome, Usama.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the Son of a Pigeon podcast.
It's great to be here.
It's great to have you here.
I'm looking forward to hearing that intro soon, which I really like.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But yeah, no, thanks for having me. It's great to finally meet. I know we've been going back and forth on Messenger for a while. I was
Yeah,
out
we
of town
did.
for a couple of months. But yeah, it's great to be back in Berlin and it's great to be on my first podcast.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that you don't look like Morty.
Yeah.
I thought you would be Morty, then I'll say, hey, Morty, Morty.
No, I actually chose my Squidward socks for today because the Rick and Morty ones I had like a massive hole in the toe. So I was like, no, I need to look good for my first
For
podcast.
the podcast. Yeah, man. Prepare your socks. We're going to show them.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you're the meme master for me in Facebook. I love to see your stuff.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I've actually put myself down as a self-proclaimed meme researcher on all of my social mediums and stuff, to the point where some people think it might not be very professional to put that up there, because I literally write musician, producer, meme researcher on my Insta, my Facebook, and I'm thinking of adding it to my website now as well.
To your website.
Yeah.
Wow, I should make a meme academics.
But
First degree.
But yeah, I'm self-taught, so like I'm sure the actual like learned academics who've gone to meme college and stuff would be a little annoyed.
I used to also post some memes. I don't know if I can call them memes, but they were fucked up images.
All right.
And Facebook started to block me.
Oh.
And once they block you, you're on the radar.
Yeah.
And then anything else, it can be anything. They just think you might do something that somehow is against
their community standards.
Exactly. Then you block completely. 30 days. They don't care. 30 days block immediately. I had a post once, an image. You see like hands of white people and black people. So one white, one black. Yeah.
All right.
It says, hey, we're all the same. That's what it says.
Yeah.
And then Facebook blocked it because of the image, because they said it contains pornography.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe
it's a fucked up system.
Yeah, maybe they're using AI to fish through all of this now. Because I've heard like similar stories from a lot of people. So I just try to stay safe by not really posting any original content when it comes to memes anymore, at least. I tried for a little while. It's just a lot of work to put into making a meme and then 10 people reacting to it,
You were making the memes?
I was for a while, yeah, but very few. Like just for let's say like a month or two, I started making them. This was like lockdown when I didn't have much to do and couldn't get out, so I was like, yeah, let's start making some memes. Yeah.
Cool, man.
But now I just reshare. I think that's the extent to my sort of expertise.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
Share the memes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also your name is pretty known here in Berlin as a music producer.
Is it?
Yeah, I've seen people recommend you a lot, and when someone is
you.
recommending you, so I see a lot of likes on this comment.
Thank you. I'm a little embarrassed now. I didn't know that, but
That's the city, man. That's what they choose.
yeah, no, it's a nice small scene, and even if you don't know someone, you always know someone who knows them, etc. So everyone's connected, but at least at most like 1 degree of separation. So. I've been here for like we were talking about. Have been here for like 6-7 years now. So I'm glad that this is the first time I found out that people know who I am. So yeah, this is a milestone.
Yeah, this is nice to discover good stuff about yourself.
Yeah, it is. Because normally it's the other way around. You discover horrible things.
Yeah. Yeah, might be a website somewhere about me with all the horrible things.
Yeah, you never know. I mean,
and you never know. Probably people are thinking about it, and the moment I will get famous.
Yeah.
Oh, we want some of his money. He was a motherfucker to me 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago. I go back to him.
No, I mean, yeah, it's perfectly plausible. If I'm honest, I wouldn't say I've never thought about it myself. Like one day, if I become famous.
So funny. I think it's something with musicians. We think everyone talks shit about us.
Yeah.
Also, there is the album of Jeff Buckley. You know Jeff Buckley? You like him?
Yeah, yeah.
He got this album that he released, You and I. It's like some recordings of demo versions that he did.
All right.
That he kind of auditioned to this producer, Andy Wallace. You know this guy, Andy Wallace? He's a producer slash mix engineer.
Oh, Andy Wallace, yeah.
So he's the one who produced this album, Grace. So I think he was recording the songs for him, and one of the songs he did kind of a reggae imitation.
All right.
And he did not wanted to publish it because he thought now everyone will hate me because I'm doing black people's music.
All right.
Yeah.
And it got published eventually?
Eventually, yeah.
I mean, was it after his passing?
Yeah, you can hear it in this album, You and I. There is an extended version, which I think are maybe 15 or 16 recordings of just him playing.
All right.
Yeah, just him with a guitar, acoustic or electric.
Right. That kind of was, that was kind of his forte as well, right? Like, he was really, like, sort of genius level good at that. It's a shame, though, like, one should always respect the wishes of the creator of that art. I mean, you see all sorts of music being released posthumously, which is, you kind of go like, you question whether they'd be okay with it. And, it's just sad to hear that people would rather capitalize on it than just, respect the wishes of someone who passed away. Yeah,
but on the other hand, I think it's a gem. Whatever recorded there, and not to release it outside.
It is. And while I was saying what I was saying, I was also thinking, but like, it would always then be stuck in a vault somewhere in an audio tape. But again, like, it's, I guess, as someone who creates that art, it is their prerogative, and it's their sort of their wishes should be at least taken into account. But yeah, I mean, like, genius, like I said, genius level sort of songwriter, and beautiful voice as well.
Yeah, beautiful spirit.
Yeah. You get that vibe through the music, actually.
Yeah,
you feel it.
Yeah, and it's so good, these recordings that he had. It's so raw. It's just him and the microphone.
Yeah.
So sometimes you even hear him just stopping because he fucked up a note. Because you hear the wrong note, and then, oh shit, can we do it again?
And then he just restarts.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to actually listening to this. When did this come out? You said recently?
I think 2010s, 15s. I don't know, something like that.
So I may have heard a couple of songs from there. Actually,
there is one famous performance. He did a cover by Bob Dylan.
All right,
Like a Woman. Something like that. Just Like a Woman.
Just Like a Woman. That's also a really good song.
So that is the first song that opens it.
All right.
And there are two versions to the album. One of them is a little bit shorter. So we got maybe 8 songs. And then there is the longer version.
All right.
And you really hear everything behind it. He even record some stuff just to record it so we can not forget the ideas that he had.
Right.
So you hear him explaining his concept, like one dream that he had.
All right.
And he just plays on the guitar. While he's playing the guitar, is explaining the dream and what he experienced in the dream.
Okay.
And he said, and that was the song that they sang in the dream.
Wow. It's like old school voice notes. It sounds like, right? Like your personal sort of phone.
Pre-iPhone era.
Yeah, pre-iPhone era. You'd probably have a little recorder in your hand and stuff.
I think not even. Maybe.
Yeah, probably just the mic's running. Yeah.
Who got a studio and you got an equipment for that.
They probably had the budget. But yeah.
He was also a son of a very famous musician.
Was he?
Tim Buckley, I think, is the name of his dad.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So probably he had access to studio as well.
Yeah. Nice. No, that's cool then. I mean, I would like to have like a nice studio environment where I just get to record my voice notes. That would be cool.
It would be nice.
Yeah. Excessive and wasteful, but
do we need it today?
Nah, that's what I meant. Like, now we have our phones and you just quickly record all of that here. I just talk about my dreams into my phone all the time. I don't remember any dreams, actually. So for all intents and purposes, as far as I'm concerned, I haven't dreamt in years.
Really?
Yeah.
You smoke weed? That's one of the reasons.
Maybe.
Maybe. Not saying anything illegal here.
No. Because you never know. Like, my parents are very supportive of my music career now, and if they end up listening to this,
for musician, it's part of the musical career. It's a place you need to go in order to get your career somewhere. Sometimes.
yeah, I mean, to each their own. Like, baklava is actually equally good in terms of inspiring people to do things.
Baklava, yeah.
Yeah, it gives you energy, and then you get up, pick up your guitar.
Yeah, for
Start
sure,
making
man.
some music.
Yeah, also the sun is very inspiring.
Yeah. To be fair, anything can be inspiring. Like, from the tiniest of things to the biggest of sort of incidents, world incidents and stuff. So it's not that difficult to find inspiration to write about.
Yeah, if we keep ourselves open, we can find inspiration everywhere.
Yeah.
But then it's the discipline to put it down into something that is real and not some imaginary thoughts.
That is true. It's discipline. Yeah, that's where I lack severely when it comes to my own music. If I'm
For
honest.
everybody, man, that's the biggest struggle.
Yeah, because it's like such a. I mean, sometimes no, I might regret saying this. But sometimes I wish that I still had like a boss, like you'd have like in a corporate setting, who's actually telling you, all right, no, you have to do this or you're in trouble, because it's when you're freelancing and stuff, you're your own boss. So the disciplining aspect is missing. So, nah. Right, like we talked about, it's difficult to be disciplined about your own music.
Yeah, about everything, because we need to think what is more than just making music or producing it. Like, we need to think extra.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot to do it ourselves, of course.
It was obviously, definitely, as an independent artist, like, you're pretty much doing everything yourself. But that's what I mean. That's where you kind of miss that sort of authoritative figure telling you that you need to, follow a timeline, all of that stuff. I'm really good at doing it when there's money involved or if there's a client and stuff, and I'm, I'll be there on time, we work till we need to, sort of thing. But when it comes to my own music,
I see.
That sort of drive is missing. Or not the drive, the push rather is missing.
What kind of music are you doing?
It should be a very simple question to answer, but it's something I really struggle with, because I listen to so much stuff and I take, I pick and choose different things from so many different genres that eventually I think the best way of describing my music is just indie music. So it's like a mix of rock, pop, soul, folk, blues, singer-songwritery kind of stuff, Daft Punky kind of stuff. It's just it's a bit all over the place, like myself.
That's also how I explain my music, because I cannot put my finger on a specific genre.
Yeah.
But it contains all the music that inspires me.
Yeah.
And people think, oh, it's so original, but really, I just take a little bit from them, a little bit from them, a little bit from them.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
put the puzzle together for me.
That's the perfect way of saying it. Actually, it's just a puzzle that you're piecing together.
But what do you try to make with your music? Do you try to make it more interesting for people? You put some messages for people, or you want to send them into a journey, or to give them some feelings that you felt into certain experiences? How do you approach it?
So, I mean, there's a few levels when it comes to that. On the one hand, like, when I put like an album, I mean, not that I've released a billion things, but on the projects that I have worked on myself and with this band that I used to be in, like, when we put an album together, I'd think of an overall concept. It would normally be very like fictional, sort of old school, sort of fantasy based, where, like, you're thinking of demigods and random spirits, river spirits, and all of that. We were into weird stuff. So there would be a concept that would be tying all of this together, and that's how I'd curate all of these projects. And I pick and choose from old songs. All right, this makes sense in this storyline. But then, like, each song, when I write it, it has a completely different meaning, which has got nothing to do with that storyline. So eventually, like, each song has two different meanings. One to do with this plotline that I'm trying to follow with the project, and the other which is literally just an expression of whatever I was feeling at that moment when I wrote the song. So yeah, like to me, that's what the song actually means. But then to my audience of 10, I think I have 10 followers now. So to my audience of 10 people, I like telling that I mean, I haven't been able to do a great job of telling the story of the concepts of my work so far. But, there's a concept there. It's kind of obvious in the artwork and stuff, or in the names of the songs, or I even openly talk about it and stuff. But sort of extracting your own meaning from each song is something that I've loved doing as a listener. So that's why what the song actually means to me when I write it is something I don't normally share. So that people can, listen to it, figure out what it means to them. Yeah, and then,
it's usually like that. The moment you let the song be public, then people are free to do whatever they want with it.
Exactly. So that's why I don't like to sort of, again, like the masses of 10 followers, I don't like to, taint their own sort of view of or perception of the song with my own.
They want to keep them pure.
Yeah. But yeah, like it's fun though, like because you're trying to work on two levels then. So you're trying to fit a song into, I mean, like the actual emotions and the, whatever you're going through when you're writing the song is just there. But then you're also trying to fit it into the storyline when you're selecting songs and stuff. And so, like I'm trying to look for songs which would have two meanings then. So.
And what about the music wise? How do you choose? What kind of genre would you make the song?
I think that's something that's kind of changed as I've been making music. When I started out, it was a very sort of pop music was rock music, right? So
pop, pop is changing.
Pop is changing. Pop is ever changing. Obviously, but what was popular and being sort of pushed at that time was, I mean, like I remember Metallica was one of the biggest things in the world.
90s.
Yeah, the 90s, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Guns N' Roses, Soundgarden.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I grew up listening to. And even like, I used to love bands like Bon Jovi, Aerosmith. And then there was like, I mean, pop wasn't as inspiring to me at that point because it was different. But yeah, like some hip hop and, that's the kind of stuff I was listening to at that point. So obviously like my go-to was just like rock music in the beginning, and that's the sound that it was like just mostly guitar-based music. And then I started sort of throwing synths in when I started listening to other stuff like Daft Punk and Rush, and then I started listening to like more sort of progressive rock things like Tool and all of that. So it was different rabbit holes, and with each I kind of started picking up things. And there was a phase where I was just only listening to old school like blues and soul music. I think that's been my longest phase ever. That still kind of continues a bit. Where
old stuff from blues.
I mean, I was super into Robert Johnson.
Is it the first blues guitarist or something?
It's one of the first recordings.
And like his dude sitting on with his suit.
He was a hat and stuff, and
very official.
Yeah. Went down to the crossroads, fell down on my knees, that kind of stuff. Where my friends were like, "What are you listening to, bro?" This is when everyone else was listening to Tiesto and that kind of music, like trance and stuff was big. But yeah, like I had my soul and blues phase, which I'm kind of still stuck with. But then the electronics started creeping in, so it's just been a mishmash. I think hip hop played a big role with sort of me thinking about things more electronically, and then eventually Daft Punk brought it home for me. I was like, Daft Punk.
Electronically, you mean not played live?
I mean, like synths and stuff, electronic drums and stuff. Because I came from like a very just like 4-piece, 5-piece band sort of background. It was guitars, drums, bass, vocals. Then like slowly you start thinking about bringing in a keyboard player, sort of thing. So that's when I started thinking more about, like, all right, there's other sounds to make as well. I can rely on them. And then production changed, That was also changing at the same time, which kind of sort of complemented my my journey, which was nice.
And what about the pop that was in this time? Because the pop was really crazy in the 90s. You had the Backstreet Boys, you had the Spice Girls.
Oh, I was super into that. I was super into that.
Britney
so this
Spears,
is like
Christina Aguilera,
So
man,
this is a bit further back even, because this is like when I wasn't really a musician. This is when I was just purely a listener. And I think the first actual album that I owned that my aunt got for me and my sister was like the Backstreet Boys album.
Which one?
It was not the one. Like I think it was their first album. I just don't remember the name anymore of it.
Everybody.
Yeah, it had like. No, that was later. I think that was Backstreet's Back.
Yeah, so it was one even earlier. True.
Yeah, so this was like with Get Down, and move it all around. So yeah, stuff like that. Boyzone. I was super into Boyzone.
This song Get Down, it's so naughty, man. I never knew how naughty and sexual the song is until I got older.
Yeah, no, that's true. At that point, I mean, I was just like, you understood the lyrics, but you didn't understand them at the same time.
It was just cool.
Yeah.
It sounded cool. And
you're like, they're probably talking about something about dancing or something, you know? That's what was going in my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like I was super into pop music at that point. And then when I started picking up the guitar and stuff, it was just very difficult to pull those kinds of songs off. Just like, just you and an acoustic guitar. It's just you don't feel the impact of the nice beats, the full production. Yeah. So then you start trying to look for other things which are more appropriate. So, I mean, I was lucky in that my dad used to have, this is my dad's guitar, by the way. So
it looks like it's been through some journey.
Yeah. These two are like self-inflicted. This is like where I try to hide the scars from my dad when I was younger. But yeah, he had like this little diary where he wrote like a lot of old like folk songs and stuff, like Bob Dylan, Simon Garfunkel and stuff.
Cool.
So this was like,
this is cool, man.
Yeah, it was like almost like, how you go online to Ultimate Guitar and look for chords and stuff. This was my first chord book. So it had like whatever he tried to learn as, when he was younger.
Did he make the book himself from listening?
Yeah, it's handwritten. It's like him and like two of his friends who have their handwriting, and they're mostly his. So they'd write down the lyrics. Then one of the friends was like a little more advanced when it came to guitar playing and stuff. So he'd figure out the chords for them. And then they'd all sort of write them down, and
they figured the major 7.
Yeah, I don't know if they got that far. They were still like, there was augmented sevenths is where
Oh wow, yeah. This is which place to go to?
Because it was mostly just major, minor, and that, and they had their own way of like how we write tabs now. It was like fractions, where it was string over fret number or something.
Like tabs.
Yeah, that's how they wrote their tabs and stuff. So that was my first chord book. So, I'd just play whatever was there. Crazy. And whatever I'd heard him playing as a kid and stuff.
This is nice to grow up with a dad who makes music.
Yeah, no.
Did he inspire you to play guitar?
Yeah. Who else would have? Because like, to be honest, at that point, none of the music that I was listening to was very sort of guitar forward or guitar centric. Even, like I said, it was still like Backstreet Boys, whatever's on television, whatever my parents are listening to. And like he was listening to more folky kind of stuff, like both Eastern and Western. It was mostly just folk music. So, and my mom was also kind of into the same thing. I think all of us as a family, we loved folk music. We even like listened to a lot of country music growing up, like John Denver, George Strait, Garth Brooks, Kenny Rogers. Yeah. So yeah, typical Pakistani family.
I know so little about Pakistan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. We have a very like if it were a corporation and you were to say like promotion and media and marketing, we have a very bad marketing department.
Yeah, I know you have in Pakistan, you have like a atom bomb or something like that.
Yeah, we.
So that makes you dangerous,
And
I come from Jerusalem, so you're also a Muslim country. It's even more dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, so there's this really cool thing that happens in Pakistan. Actually, let me give you a little insight about Pakistan. At every street cafe, on the wall, there would be a sign there which says, if I say it in Urdu first, which says "Siyasi aur mazhabi guftagu mana hai," which means political and religious discussions are strictly prohibited, because people start fighting and stuff. But like personally, for me, the older I grow, the more I, sort of, I'm against the idea of nation states and stuff, and the more I realize I don't like any governments out there. Like, I'm yet to see one which is nice, literally just which is good.
I think there are a few that are good.
They're good at governance.
El Salvador. El Salvador?
El Salvador, I'm not too familiar. I know that they there are governments that are doing things well, like in Scandinavia and stuff. And
as well there.
Even like in Cuba, for example, there's like healthcare at a level where it's insane. All you need to do is go in and tell them your date of birth and name, and that's all they require from you. No insurance, no nothing. There was actually this documentary like ages ago. I think this.
I also know very little about Cuba.
Yeah, so there are places which have decent governance, but I'm not a big fan of governments and nation states anymore.
Yeah, we're gonna get rid of them, I believe, very soon. Slowly.
Hopefully.
With the internet, now the Twitter started with the blue V, and now Facebook is also following. So
what is that? Sorry, blue V.
Blue V. So like in Instagram, and also on Facebook you have it, just to kind of confirm that you're a real person or a real business.
The verified thing, yeah.
Yeah, so you can be a verified profile.
Right.
But since Elon Musk, he bought Twitter, one of the problems on the internet is the bots.
Yeah.
And I can make as much as accounts as I want, and I can spam. On Instagram, it's really felt for me.
All right.
So I just post something, and right away, like some comments, we want to post your post here. Check out our profile.
Yeah.
Or then sometimes some people, you want to be ambassador of this and this company.
Yeah.
It's like bullshit, man. They tell you everything is for free, but then you pay €10 for shipment.
For everything.
And basically they bring you cheap stuff from China.
Yeah.
So they make profit on you paying the shipment, which is not really shipment. Like this is big scam. And you cannot have any consequences right now because there is nothing that you can do if you will block them. So more will come, and it doesn't cost any money to make them.
Yeah, like I've been getting a lot of interest from these same thing, but jewelry stores. So like, you're the perfect ambassador for our jewelry. I'm like, have you
the meme jewelry store?
Yeah, have you like you don't even know what I look like. I just look like Morty to you.
Yeah, exactly. And they just want you to pay because most of the people who wants to be influencers, all of a sudden they see someone who confirm to them their dreams.
Yeah.
That, we are the perfect, you want to give me your jewelry, you give it for free, I just need to pay the shipment, I will do it, no problem.
Wow. Nah, that's, I mean, people are creative, especially
it's the internet.
Yeah, people are very creative.
And some of the scams, you can have all these, you want to meet me tonight, I'm the perfect date. Yes. Then you have those links, you click on them.
Yes. So this, I know like a bunch of people who this has happened to, where they're like talking to people for the longest time and they turn out to be in a different country altogether, pretending to be in the same country because that's how you'd match. Yeah. I'm a little old school. I got, I think I got married before Tinder. So like I've never used one of these apps, but I think you have to be geo-located like close by, right?
Or use VPN.
Yeah, so that's what
there is also the option there. Yeah,
I don't know if you have that in the apps. That would be interesting and misleading. But yeah, that's what people are doing. They're on VPNs. They're sitting in random countries and like, if you love me, send me €100. They'll try different things. They'll start with like 20, 30, 40, and so it's insane. Like. Yeah, I mean,
the whole business model of Tinder is against those who use it. Mm-hmm. Because if I find my match, I will not use the app.
Yeah.
So.
But what, like, again, like, do they get anything when you match on it? Are they advertising on it?
No, they don't get anything. If you match, you don't need the app.
Yeah.
You have a girlfriend. I don't need Tinder.
Yeah.
I don't use it.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I don't have a girlfriend,
I
need to get a girlfriend. And maybe I'm just a lonely man in my house. Maybe I'm still living at my parents. Maybe I'm just a teenager who became 20 or something like that. So if you don't have good matches, then you can make a boost. So you pay like 10 euros or something like this. And then you can send your message that the one that you like, it will show as first, like on the top. Even if she did not or he did not match you.
Interesting.
So they can see ahead who is matching them. So for you as a human, this is like the ultimate dopamine cash pot, It just, yes, I want to see who likes me. Yes, I want to see all of them. And I want you to see my message first. I want you.
Things like this evil, specific thing is why I don't watch Black Mirror. This is the exact reason why I don't watch Black Mirror. It's too real. It just hits you.
It's going to be here in 5 years. We don't need to watch it. We're going to leave it.
Exactly. We are already living it. So I love wasting time just watching random stuff. And Black Mirror, coming highly recommended from people. And
you never watched it?
I watched, I think 3 episodes, but then it just started creeping me out so much. I was like, no, this is just too surreal. It's just like, it makes you, it's a reality check is what it is. And then you kind of go like, I'd rather bury my head in the sand for another decade or two.
I'm not ready for it yet.
Yeah, no, that's...
it's happening right now. This is true. There is no dramatic music in the background that tells you that something bad is happening.
Yeah.
It's just part of life.
It is part of life. It's just what we've sort of... by clicking on all of the I accept the terms and conditions, this is what it's come to.
And now basically Facebook also wants to do this blue V that you will pay money.
Oh, wow.
So you can pay subscription. And with this subscription, you will get, first of all, I think the most important, you'll be verified as a real human.
All right, that's nice.
You need to verify with an ID card,
all right,
the official ID card. So this is a big thing, then you can differentiate yourself from all the bots.
And this is for just every user, or is this specifically for pages and stuff?
It's starting now for everyone who wants to do that.
I
think it's for users.
Oh, wow.
And they're doing a pilot now in Australia and New Zealand. So it's between $12 to $15, I think, a month. Also, one of the things they give to you is they give to you access to someone that you can talk with.
All right.
So if your account gets blocked, if your ad account or your business account gets blocked,
you get direct customer service.
Yeah, because Facebook are horrible with that.
Man.
They are fucking horrible. They know how to take your money, but once you need them, they just tell you go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had to deal with any of those things. When I started, I was very late to join Facebook even, but when I eventually did for work and stuff, first time I released some music, I was like, all right, at least, I don't know, 40, 50 people who were following me at that point. I was like, at least they can listen to my music for free. No, you have to pay Facebook for it to reach those 40, 50 people who are actually liking you. I'm like, that's how this works.
Yeah, basically Facebook is advertisement space. That's what it is.
Yeah. But no, it's I thought it was a given that, people who like your page, they'll get to see your content. If you put a post out, they'll get it. But no, they don't.
It used to be like that, yeah.
Yeah, but it's only like a percentage of them. And if you want to boost it to 100%, you have to pay Facebook.
Yeah, but I think slowly Facebook is also coming back to more organic kind of content reach. How do you call it when you reach people organically that you did not have to pay for promotion?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, but also with the paid promotion, you can have good tools that you can use to do remarketing for people to get your audience a bit bigger and more directed.
It is definitely very useful.
It's very useful.
I mean, I've seen it utilized in a corporate sense a lot in a past life, but it was insane how much you could sort of get into the metrics of everything, how detailed all of the data was, and how sort of intuitive it is as well. You just go in, all right, no, this is doing better. I'll just start, posting this more and sort of develop these ad sets and stuff. it's a very proven business model for sure. Yeah. And but I'm personally at a level where I don't really have ad spends for Facebook or anything, so I just throw my stuff out in the wind, and that's how I've managed to amass these 10 followers. It's no joke.
Yeah, that's the best. Yeah. To have people telling about you, this is the best marketing. If someone tells, oh, this guy did a good job with my music, with anything professional that someone is offering, yeah, that's what you need.
Yeah, no, that goes a long way, actually. I think as much as we're ripping on Facebook right now, one of the it's become a place for communities, though.
Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, the musicians in Berlin page, for example, that's such a central hub, right? I think that's the most sort of active network online of all of them that I've seen.
Not only Berlin, every city that you want to go to, you can just look on Facebook and you can post there a few times before, and you can meet the people. You can meet real people. This is what sometimes fucks me up.
Yeah, no, that's actually, to be honest, that's how I've met a bunch of the people I've met in Berlin as well, especially the musicians and stuff, because I started doing these meetups a while back, and it was I would say 5 times out of 10, it was people who were, either on their way to Berlin or had just come and just posted on hey, hi, I'm new in town. And
this is cool.
Yeah, so that's how I ended up meeting a bunch of the, people who came to the meetups and stuff. So yeah, it's very central in that sense, that group. And plus, a very important thing that I use Facebook for is memes. I don't think you can get those kinds of, the algorithm, I mean, personally at least, the algorithm gets me perfectly. It knows what I need to see when it comes to memes. They're topical. I find out about the news from memes before I actually go and read the news. I'll be like, oh, what's going on? What happened between Chris Rock and Will Smith? And then you go and you Google it up, and you see that Oscars thing.
Yeah, the memes sometimes can let you know when things are happening. Yeah. If it's important, will be a meme for it.
Yeah, there'll be at least 5-6 memes in the same day, and then you go what's happening here? I need to Google this.
Interesting. Yeah, do you think that Facebook, after they start verifying people, do you think maybe Facebook will be the confirmation about that you're a legit person in the world? That you're
a real person. That would be interesting. I mean, I think it's still the biggest network, right? In terms of user base, it could be. I mean, I don't know. It might just cause a little revival, even Facebook identity.
I'm a LinkedIn guy. You're Facebook.
Yeah. Because that's what I was thinking. LinkedIn would probably get annoyed at that. They'll be like, no, well, we were doing this kind of stuff,
Yeah, are they doing it?
I mean, not exactly. But
I know they have a paid service. I don't know what it contains.
So they do have a paid service, and it just it allows you to reach out to more than a limited number of people for sales, for recruitment and stuff like that. And it also allows you to see who's been checking out your page.
That's the ultimate, if you pay people, if you ask people to pay you, and then you will show them things beyond.
Yeah. What the normal person can
I want
see.
to have the power.
Yeah, I want to be a LinkedIn premium user.
Crazy shit. Also Twitter, they have this. Yeah, it will be interesting.
It will be very it is already interesting, I think. But yeah, I'm always 2-3 social mediums behind, so I'm just getting into Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, it's about time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have no choice, we have no choice. Slowly, I think it will be one of the main things.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, we will approve ourselves as humans or as legit persons via social media.
Yeah. And like we've been talking about, it's already happening in a way where if anyone comes up to me and says, hey, do you know so-and-so person? The first thing I'll do is either check Instagram or Facebook. And, just to put the face to the name sort of thing. Is the first place you look. So, next step.
It is a weird place.
Yeah. It is.
I'm curious. Also, if we combine it with AI technology, and if we make it safe somehow with crypto, I think then it's the ultimate. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine yesterday, 2 days ago, here. And we talked about it because he's an IT guy and he's also into AI and music and what will be. We'll really like to get high and then talk about impossible stuff. And this is one of the things that we thought about, that AI will be able to know everything about you, basically.
Yeah. Chat GPT is pretty insane.
Yeah, but imagine Neuralinks. You know the Neuralinks? This Elon Musk company that he developed a chip. You can insert it to your brain, this chip, and then you can use it as like mouse in an interface.
Oh, wow. I read about something like that briefly. I'm not too aware of it, but yeah, AI is insane. That's actually why my last album was about AI and how, like, if it ever takes over, I'll be okay in supporting it. I'll be one of those humans.
It will be something like that.
Yeah,
if you already prepare yourself with music.
I'm already very respectful to Siri, to Alexa. It's only when I'm really angry that I sometimes say "shut up" or something like that. But they know, like how I was talking about trying to, tell a story through the concept of my album. With my last album, it's actually telling AI that, hey, I'm rooting for you guys if you take over.
Don't kill me.
Don't kill me.
I'm not a battery.
Yeah, I've seen Terminator. I've seen how it works.
Yeah, you really fucked up when Arnold Schwarzenegger shows up and gives you a hand.
Yeah. No, that's why, that's specifically why my last album is called Skynet. It is Terminator fan fiction. It is about, it's essentially Skynet's journal during the whole process.
Is it rock influenced?
Partially, yeah. Yeah. But I think this was also like how I keep on sort of mentioning Daft Punk. I was super into Daft Punk those days as well. So there's that influence in there. And some funky stuff, some hip-hoppy, trappy beats and stuff. But it's a process of how it becomes self-aware, and that's when this whole thing starts, and it starts sort of secretly keeping this record of what it's going through. And initially it's just instrumental, this is information hidden in music, and then it kind of, for lack of a better phrase, kidnaps this one dude who then becomes the mouthpiece and starts singing and only knows how to play bass and guitar.
Channeling the AI.
Yeah, everything else is just, I wrote this album on my iPad actually. So it was just, everything else is electronic and it's just me, my guitar on top. So
you made it with iPad.
Yeah, I wrote it on GarageBand on my iPad.
Cool, man.
And this was after my entire life, I'm like, I need to build my own studio and work from there on my music. And I eventually did that. And then I chose to write my album on my iPad.
Yeah, it's like we buy the most expensive mics just to put a tape plugin on it.
Yeah.
And we destroy the whole crisp. How long are you producing music for? Is it something you started in Berlin or you started already in Pakistan?
So I was in this band for about 10 years or so. We were called the DA Method. We disbanded about, I think, a year or 2 years ago. So we were self-producing for the longest time. There are studios. There's great studios in Pakistan and stuff, but we were broke. So, we just started combining interfaces and stuff, and then just, working with some people over there, mostly like the band stuff. That's kind of what got us going. And then I started producing my own work. Then when I moved here to Berlin, initially I was working actually for a year or so at a copyrights place. It's I don't want to publicize them, but it was data management for copyrights basically. And there I met two people who were as sort of frustrated with their own lives as I was in being stuck in that environment. And literally, I just asked them, like, hey, you guys want to just quit this and start a studio together? And so we just started a studio. After that, we quit our jobs, we started the studio, and that's when like my professional sort of involvement in production started. So we were working with clients and stuff. On
Pakistan already?
No, this was once I moved to Berlin. Yeah. So yeah, we started working on our own, like each other's projects, and then some clients and stuff, and did that for about 3 years or so. Yeah, roughly 3 years. And now we still use the same space. Like we share the same space, but I work on my own projects, and my ex-partners, they do their own things as well. Like one's a bassist and the other is a producer / guitarist. Like he works on like his own project. So yeah, we share that space, but I'm still working there.
Cool. What do you think is the most challenging thing as a producer in Berlin?
What is the most
challenging thing?
Getting paid.
Getting paid.
Getting paid is challenging.
Where is the money?
Because
what do you think is the reason it's so challenging?
It's because it's kind of like the cart before the horse situation. It's like it's a especially at the indie level, it's not like people are making loads of money, right? Everyone is struggling. Everyone is playing gigs and stuff, or doing sessions and stuff to just, at least the musicians, that's what they're doing, because you don't make that much money off of streaming, right? Even if you have a lot of streams, it's not really something that you can sort of pay the bills with.
Yeah.
So, there's not that much money going around with your potential client base. So then you obviously eventually have to sort of, make decisions where you go like, I wish I could get paid more. But then, like I said, it's just the industry that we're in. So you end up putting in a lot of work, and it's tough to match the level of income with the work that goes in. But I'm sure like if you work with, this is for me personally, because I'm working with people who are starting out, people who are working on their first, second album sort of thing, or independent artists. If you're working with people who are signed to labels and stuff, then you have amazing budgets actually. Then there's a lot of money there.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah. And I'm not like, I don't have anything against that. It's just I haven't been approached by anyone who's signed yet. Because if I do, then probably it would be nice to get some money from the labels.
Yeah, to the resume.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a tough industry to be in. Like every musician, any creative, sort of any artist and stuff, because this is an extension of that, right? We're all struggling, so we're in the trenches together, though. That's something. There's solidarity in numbers.
Yeah, we're not alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we all struggle, and I think the more struggle we have, basically, the better we are in life.
Yeah.
That's how it feels for me in my journey.
Yeah, there's things that you pick up through that struggle that are part of who you are, part of what you do, and also like a massive learning experience in themselves.
Yeah, it's always learning experience. Yeah. Even if it's like the whole world is crashing down at this very moment on top of my head.
Yeah,
it happens for a reason that I don't quite understand at the moment.
Fair enough.
And one way I can just go into like a fetal position, just say, leave me alone.
Yeah, which is nice for a while.
It's nice for a while. Yeah. If you know the limits, it's okay, but you need to stand up and say, all right, what can I not engage? What blessing I have in all this pain?
Yeah, fair enough.
It's always, there is huge blessing. The bigger the pain, the holier the blessing.
I kind of believe in similar things as well. It's part of your 10,000 hours, I guess. You have to put them in to get there. But also, like I said, it's also the fact that we choose an industry where there's not a lot of money going around. So,
do you think so? I think there's a lot of money.
At least at the independent level,
Also in the independent level, There are a lot of successful artists.
There are definitely.
Producers
I'm talking, I
labels.
think, more in a localized sense, like, just where we are specifically. Like, I'm mostly working in Berlin. My only other outlet is Karachi back home and stuff. So there's like a lot of talented musicians here.
That's for sure.
But again, like, if you go to play at a venue and they give the entire band 100 euros, 200 euros, that doesn't get you very far, right? Then there's like you said, there's more successful acts and they break through, and that's them going through their struggle to eventually get their where they need to be, etc., sort of thing. So there's definitely stories like that, but for the most part, it's like venues don't pay. It's just the economy that doesn't work then, right? There's not
this
enough
is kind
injection.
of a weird culture that developed.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Berlin or is it usually like this in big cities and musicians.
I mean, like, to be honest,
maybe London is also like that. I don't know.
I've lived in London for a few years. To be fair, I was studying at that time, so I was only playing like open mics and stuff. So I wasn't really trying to do that professionally, to do it professionally at that point. But one of my really close friends, like one of the ex-partners from the studio, he was working professionally over there. It was very cutthroat. He has some war stories from being a session musician in London. I mean, London in itself is such a harsh environment. Even if you're like an investment banker, let alone a musician who's trying to make ends meet.
For what reason?
Sorry?
For what reason it's so harsh?
It's expensive, firstly.
I think not anymore.
London,
the last year, man,
to be honest, I haven't. I mean, fair enough. I haven't been following that too closely, but
usually it's quite pricey in London. I remember.
Yeah, it's just like it's very hand to mouth, right? Because it just some sugar. It's so it's like it's one of the richest cities in the world, and there's like high earning people there and stuff. But everyone who I know who's living there, it's hand to mouth. It's always hand to mouth because their lifestyles are just fancier lifestyles, and they're always chasing the paycheck. It is such a fast and sort of it's a very fast-paced city as well at the same time. A lot of competition, a lot of people coming in. So it's
like New York of Europe.
I would say that. Not that I've been to New York in ages, but from the outside looking in, it is. I would say that it's pretty similar in that sense. I guess that's true of any big city in the country. People converge there. There's a lot of competition, and especially these bigger cities, it's so fast that you kind of get. It becomes very sort of. If you're living there, trying to survive there, it becomes a very different sort of beast altogether. You feel consumed by it.
But then you have more opportunities in big cities.
Yeah, I would think so generally. But yeah, like I said, this friend of mine who was doing session work there, and he was doing good gigs. Like he was, unlike me, he's educated from like a nice school and stuff, and he was playing decent venues. But again, it's like, you get paid like 40, 50 pounds, 60 pounds a night for playing in a big band, or even if it's your gig. And that just doesn't, it's difficult to pay the bills, in that way. Then it's very difficult to be balling as a musician unless if you're discovered and signed.
Yeah.
It's
very interesting to think about it. Is it just this period of time where we are living, or is it something that is constantly happening, If you go to the 60s, maybe it will be also difficult in other ways.
Yeah.
And people will say, the industry is difficult, And then you go back to the 20s, the industry is difficult.
Yeah.
But they just have their own challenges.
Yeah, and again, like, it's just one of those things, right? It's like there's not a shortage of artists out there at any given time in the world. And again, not a shortage of, out of those artists, a lot of them are motivated to actually, make it a career, a successful career, be famous, and whatever their goals are. and then like, you know, there's only a few sort of slots available at the top. So it's always going to be, you know, like
Yeah, you think? I think there is no limit of how many slots there are. I think it's just a matter of who is good, he gets it.
There is that element now that's a bigger element, because the gatekeeping isn't the same way it was earlier, right? Because
Yeah,
earlier,
it's more open.
yeah,
like,
now it's definitely a lot more open. I agree. But like, yeah, back in the day and stuff, they would still have those issues, I think.
Yeah, but then it will be also your responsibility to get discovered as a musician. So
Yeah.
you would play everywhere and you would try
Yeah, I
to
think
get as much
the
gigs as
biggest
possible.
onus is on you to
Yeah.
actually do something with your art and not just, you know, let it just fall by the wayside, which is unfortunately what happens with most talented people.
Yeah,
Like there's so many people who I know who were amazing at what they do. They're just not like I mean, I don't want to say I'm amazing at what I do, but like I'm not, for example, I suck at promoting myself as a musician, or how we were talking about this, the discipline to actually, you know, put in those hours when you don't have a boss or you don't have a deadline, because these are very open-ended projects, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it just keeps on getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the deadline keeps on getting pushed and pushed, and then yeah, it's difficult for most people to actually.
It's the ultimate challenge.
Yeah,
and those who master discipline, they usually very
Yeah.
successful. They achieve what they want.
I agree. I agree. So yeah, the onus is on the artist to actually, you know, put in that effort and just keep on being very almost stubborn in your self belief that, you know, because you manifest these things too, right? At least that's what I believe, that if you have a goal, if you have an ambition, and you are thinking towards it positively, you start working towards it, and you will achieve that goal. But you really need to start thinking towards it positively.
Yeah, that's the difficult thing.
Yeah.
Who I talked? I don't know. I talk a lot about this, like the law of attraction.
Yeah.
It's such a nice concept, man.
Yeah.
But it's far from reality. When you actually use the law of attraction, it doesn't feel like you're attracting anything, and there is nothing you want to be attracted to. When you actually using it, it feels the worst thing that you can do at the moment.
All right. So for me personally, I have like this is just my own experience, obviously. So it's not like universal. When I started thinking about sort of things more in terms of, you know, like earlier, for example, a lot of things that I wanted to do in life seemed unachievable because of different reasons. Like, I can't ever be a musician. I can't ever have my own studio and blah, blah, blah. And when I stopped like thinking like that, when I was like, no, this is what I need to do in my life. This is the only thing I want to do in my life. Things started changing. I started taking steps as opposed to just sitting and being like, oh, I wish I had a studio. I started, saving up a little, buying a little, a mic here, a plug-in there sort of thing. And, just researching how to build acoustic panels. You start doing all of that, and eventually like it all culminates together. And that's when you go like, all right, I was actually able to somehow manifest this random idea that I had. And it can be small things, it can be big things, it can be anything really, but it's just putting your mind to it. I feel like I'm not a scientist, but I feel like the human mind is actually capable of pretty much anything. If you put if you put your mind to it, you can achieve anything. That's what I feel. Unless if you're not, if you're impaired in any way or stuff, if you have a healthy mind, you can pretty much manifest anything that you want.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it's good to think positively.
Yeah,
it's just very difficult to think positively when everything is negative.
When everything is shit. Yeah, I think it's
also not to be positive when everything is negative around.
Yeah,
for me, I think it's just to tap into the negativity. So if it's hell around me, I want to be the devil.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, because this is what it requires at the moment. If I would think maybe positive, maybe it will be different, because then I would think, no, I'm not in this state, I'm somewhere else. So I'm kind of denying where I am at this very moment.
Fair enough. Yeah, I get that. You can't always be just like forcing yourself to find the silver lining in every situation, sort of thing.
It's kind of tapping to whatever it is and just relaxing into that.
Yeah, you have to, because you go through phases, right?
For sure.
I feel like, just like the seasons, like my body and my body clock is in a way where there will be like long spells where I'm just like, for all intents and purposes, pretty useless. I'm just, just lying around, not doing anything that I'm supposed to. That's where like mental health kind of plays into it as well. And you have to be aware of that, and you have to kind of sometimes go through that phase, sometimes kick yourself, up the butt to get out of get out of that rut. But it depends. The situation changes. Everyone's life is different.
For sure.
Everything happening around you changes so often.
And everyone got different equation for their own life.
Yeah, exactly.
So whatever is good for me can be for someone else the very most toxic thing they can do.
Exactly. Also, no, just like the stimulus that you get from the people around you, the world around you, it's just all of that plays into it. Even the weather, like for example, that plays into it. Being stuck. This is the first sun we've seen properly in like a while, right? The last week or so.
It's not the sun; it's the heat.
And the last 2 days it's been a little hot. Yeah, which is nice.
This is feeling after everything is cold and you just go outside. You need to put like 5 coats on yourself, and then
it's like, such a disincentive.
It's so relaxing, huh?
Yeah, I didn't have to like do all the layers up and stuff.
I love this.
Yeah,
I love this. This is why I endure the cold, just to have this feeling.
Just fair enough. Yeah, no, it's Otherwise, if it was just this throughout, then the marginal utility curve would come into play.
Yeah,
and you'd start being like, I like the cold more. The grass is always greener on the other side.
Yeah, when it gets hot, it will get hot this summer, I think, as well.
Yeah, because trust me, like June, July, like wherever the two of us are, there will be a point where we're like, I hate this heat.
Yeah, it's gonna be annoying. But
I miss the winters.
That's the thing. When it's too cold, we say, I wish it was summer. When it's too hot, I wish it was winter.
Yeah.
The art is just now it's winter.
Yeah.
The art now is hot.
Yeah, that's true.
How does it feel?
Yeah.
How does this very annoying, irritating feeling of me just want to take my skin off because it's too hot and everything is humid here?
Yeah.
How does it feel?
No, I guess being in the now and being in the present is actually more important than either the past or the future. So it's best to just focus on now.
Yeah. Actually, there is nothing positive or negative. It's just our relations towards it.
Yeah, it just is. Yeah.
Yeah. If you now go into a cold bath, icy bath, and then you go from 0 to 15 degrees, all of a sudden this 15 degrees will be warm for you and pleasant.
Yeah.
But if you go from 30 degrees to 15,
it's going to be cold.
A bit colder. Yeah. And it's all relative to that.
It's perspective, right?
Yeah. I think a lot about this with music as well, because what is the job of a music producer and musician and also a mixing engineer is basically to match all the frequencies in a way it will be harmonious for us.
Yeah.
And also us as humans, I think we have so many frequencies about everything. Every person that we meet right now, we exchange frequencies.
Yeah.
So I observe you and you observe me.
Yeah, there's an energy exchange.
Yeah. And you will be a different person and I will be a different person after this talk.
Yeah, that's true actually.
And then you go somewhere else and you have all those influences as well, It's like...
it's almost like this little sort of memory chip that you have.
Yeah. But imagine the harmonies that are being created even without us being noticed.
Yeah, or us being able to hear them and stuff. Yeah, no,
but it's there somehow and we notice them. And
like the study of sound... like the more you get into it, the more you start being called a conspiracy theorist, unfortunately. But we work with sound and it's such a beautiful thing. And how can it, not have all of these other, there's a plausibility that those things are there just because we don't hear above and below a certain frequency, just because we don't see things beyond a certain, spectrum of light doesn't mean that they don't exist or they don't impact everyone. So I feel there's space for that.
Right now there is music in the room, but we need a tool that we can hear it through.
That is true.
Which is called the radio.
Yeah.
But it's right here everywhere.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I've seen a guy walking in the street and he was just talking to himself, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
But it was not the case. He was talking to someone in a different spot.
All right.
On Earth, and his phone was connected via Bluetooth, so I did not knew. But you just see someone talking to himself.
Yeah.
And you think this is very strange. And imagine now that he's talking somewhere in a different place in the world.
Yeah.
And he got this invisible connection towards this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you tell people about telepathy and all this kind of stuff, and they say, no. It's impossible. We cannot do this.
Impossible is just like, I feel like if someone says something is impossible, they're just either unaware or just like really full of themselves, that they think that what they think is the absolute truth.
Yeah.
Right? So there's always plausibility, there's possibility for anything to be,
For sure. Everything here is imagined, there's microphones, this table, the PC, everything, even the baklava is imagined. Someone imagined those stuff.
Yeah, at some point.
And then we have it here.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like just sort of the quantum and existential aspects of all of that. It kind of, like I said, it starts being called conspiracy theories and pseudoscience, but, who am I to say that can't be?
Yeah, everything is possible.
Yeah.
If you're still open to the idea.
I agree.
What about your music? You offered to play 2 songs, and we thought that we can talk about the songs right now.
Sure.
But then the songs will be played in the end.
Yeah, sure.
So which songs are we going to play? What are they called? Are they from the last album that you did?
Yeah, so the last album. So it's been...
The AI album.
Yeah, the AI album.
All right.
Called Skynet.
Skynet.
Is
it the company? And
it's the software and the company from Terminator. It's Terminator fan fiction. That album is entirely that.
Did you sample Schwarzenegger in the album?
Nah, I'm just too cheap to pay for samples and to get clearance. But that would have been cool, actually. Damn it. Next time I make an album about Terminator, I'll try to clear some samples. I'll be back. But yeah, so 2 songs. One of them is called Everything I Need, which is about... So in the scheme of the story itself from the album, it's when Skynet is starting to realize that the humans are a little scared of how powerful it's getting. So that's where that song comes in. And then the second song is called 2 Worlds Apart, which in that storyline, it is where Skynet is actually sending Terminators back in time and talking to them like in different timelines and stuff, and sort of that sort of stage where it's developed to the point where it's able to send Terminators back, and it's communicating with them basically at that point.
From different times.
Yeah, from different times and stuff.
Crazy.
So yeah, the actual meanings, like I said, I always like to just because they're just all very sad, and they're never like my songs never come. Unfortunately, they normally come from. They don't come from a place of joy, I tend to see like very sad and harsh things in life, and sort of make songs about them. So the songs themselves are about just not very nice stuff, but in the storyline they fit differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, life is not nice sometimes.
Yeah,
most of the times actually it's not so nice.
Yeah, and it's also like we're a subset of any artist is like a subset of their surroundings, right? And I come from Pakistan and I live in Berlin, so it's not like the histories of these places, the present sort of situations. They're all there's not a lot of happy stuff happening. It's just like one thing after the other, some sort of calamity, some sort of weird social issue. It's just so all these things, they don't like inspire you to write about things being okay because they aren't. So yeah, so that's why that's also why I don't like to get into it, because it gets very super depressing and stuff. And but yeah.
Does it feel depressing when I will listen to the song? Do you hide it sometimes behind some metaphorical masks?
Not a lot. I mean, I'm very literal with my lyrics.
All right.
Generally, like but then it's a bit hidden in that because all of these situations are either experienced or imagined in my head, and then these are conversations between either, like I said, imaginary people or things that have actually happened, or things that have happened to people who I don't know. Really, I've just read a news article about something or the other, or there's something on the news these days about a horrible tragedy or something like that, and that's where I kind of sort of like I imagine these situations and stuff or what they would be going through, and so it's not very obvious right away what I'm talking about, but to me I'll know, and then I get sad. But yeah.
There are songs that's been written about tragic stuff, and they are great songs.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like most, if you look at most sort of like singer-songwriter movements around the world, they're always coming after like a time of conflict or social upheaval or just a lot of just weird stuff going on in the environment, and it always instills like a lot of sort of inspiration into songwriters. So yeah, that's why I think a lot of it gets translated into music. A lot of that negativity gets turned into positive stuff.
Yeah. That's the ultimate scale. If you can turn negative into positives, you're unbreakable.
Yeah, that would be cool actually.
Yeah. Someone brings you kryptonite and then you think, no,
I'll turn this into baklava.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, baklava, man. It's so nice. I love how it melts in my mouth.
Especially this one is really nice, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like, what is it? It's just sugar, basically?
Yeah, sugar.
Sugar and dough and some
butter.
more sugar.
Butter.
And a little bit of pistachio. But there is one layer of really fluffy sugar on the bottom.
Yeah.
And there is another layer of chopped pistachio with sugar.
Nice.
And then there is a layer of this dough. What is it called? The dough in
Filo
English?
pastry, I think.
Yeah, it's like the croissant dough.
Oh yeah, it's like layered and
Layered
stuff.
dough, yeah. When you put the butters in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's also with sugar. And then the combination of it.
It's just beautiful, actually. But you can make bad baklava as well. I've had really bad baklava as well.
Oh, what was bad about them? What makes a good baklava? Or what
I
makes it bad?
think for me, it needs to, like you said, kind of melt and disappear as you eat it.
Yeah.
And you need to have like a slight crisp to it as well at the same time.
Some dryness.
Yeah. Because sometimes it's just too saturated with syrup and stuff, and you just like you feel like you're eating paste. With this, like you get different textures at the same time. You get like crunch from the pistachios, you get the lightness of the filo pastry, the layers and stuff, and then you get the super sugary sort of hit at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's sweet as fuck, but not over sweet.
Yeah. Especially the size of the serving, right? I think that's kind of
it's also very important.
Yeah, that's because like even back home, like the desserts and stuff we have are very concentrated, but they're tiny. Right? It's exactly like this. It'll be small but super concentrated. It wouldn't be like a big bowl of like pudding or an ice cream sundae. Like it wouldn't be that size, or a big slice of cake. It wouldn't be that size because they're a lot more concentrated and unhealthy.
Now I want to ask you more about the kitchen in Pakistan, but I think we go back to the song.
Yeah, sure.
It can develop. It can be hours, We already one in 15 minutes. 1 hour, 15 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, if you wish to take a break in any time, just
at some point I might need a toilet break. That would be nice because I had a bunch of water.
Yeah, it's all chilled here. And you're going to play it on acoustic guitar and going to sing as well?
Yes.
However, we're going to have a playback.
Yeah, I have some backing tracks that... Because like I said, this album was written on an iPad, so a big chunk of the sound is, those synths and stuff, and the beats that I sort of programmed in there. So when I play them solely on acoustic, they just sound empty. and boring and repetitive. This way, at least the listener is distracted by other things and doesn't have to pay attention to how boring and repetitive I am.
Yeah, we need to grab their attention.
Yeah,
as producers. That's our job as producers.
Yeah, partially. I think you have to keep the thing flowing. The song, you need to sort of keep on adding and taking away different elements at different times. To keep that variety going, because most songs are just like a loop, right? A few chords. In fact, like I've the more I listen to like my favorite songs, the more I realize there's just like 2 chords in a lot of them. Like
some of them,
like Dream with Fleetwood Mac. Thunder only happens.
Yeah, it's only 2 chords.
That's 2 chords. Where did you sleep last night? I think has
that's very simple as well.
That's very
it's like 3 chords.
The one that I'm thinking about is Underneath the Bridge. It's a Nirvana song. Something in the Way.
Something in the Way.
Simple song, 2 chords.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like then you have to make it interesting with the melodies, the layers and stuff. So that's why so as not to expose how boring I actually am, I want to play with. Actually, this is gonna be the first time I perform with backing tracks.
Cool.
Yeah. Because I managed to bounce these down last night after work.
They keep you working with the podcast.
Yeah, and then like in the evening, a friend of mine came over and I played him the songs twice, both times. Like I was like, I'm sorry, man, I'm going to run through it one more time. So yeah, they wouldn't be like super. I wouldn't be super practiced, but you know.
And how did you approach the production in the song? How did you made it more interesting?
Yeah, I think for me, like both of these songs, like I said, they were just like the same loop on guitar over and over. So I tried to like with this album, a lot of the songs were like, they start off small and they build into a big sort of crescendo, for lack of a better term. So that's what I did with one of them. The other one is, similar sort of thinking behind it. It's just the same loop on guitar over and over. Might as well try to. With that one, I went up and down, up and down. It was more like waves with that one. But with one, it's just like a linear sort of.
To keep on adding instruments.
Yeah, it just keeps on getting louder and louder, more layers and stuff. With the other one, it's like they come and go.
All right.
Yeah.
And you also mix the stuff yourself? The music?
Yeah.
Until the end, or you give to someone else to do the
no, I did the mix myself. The master, I got another friend to do it, Dan. He's also Berlin-based engineer. Really good engineer, actually.
Cool.
So he mastered the album for me. Mo Danger is his artist name. And other than that, I did everything myself, which is why these projects are very sort of long, drawn out as well, because like I try to do everything myself on them. It's always been like,
What's the challenge for you, to do them because you don't have time, or to say I'm satisfied?
Both, actually. The first thing nowadays, yes, I can't say that I had that excuse earlier in life where I didn't have time. I just lacked the discipline, if I'm being honest. Now where I feel like I have some more professional discipline when it comes to making music, I just like I've, for example, for the last 4 weeks, so my studio mate is out of town, so I had the drum set up and there's wires all over the floor, and the plan was to record drums for I've written 5 more songs, so the plan was to record drums for at least 3 of them. I haven't gotten time to do that even once, and it's been 4 weeks. One would think that 4 weeks is a long time, but then, like weekend, I like resting on a weekend. You're so tired making music that you don't want to make music after making music, if that makes sense. So my stuff gets a little less priority. But I work on it still, little by little. So right now, like I said, 5 songs that I've written. I'm trying to get, I applied for funding for it, to try and make it a project where I can collaborate with one Berlin-based musician and one Pakistani musician on each song. So if that doesn't work out, then I'll just start recording them myself and try to do the same thing.
Yeah, it's good to do collaborations. It saves so much time.
That's why I'm looking more into that, because I've worked in a silo for most of my life with my own music. It's just been me. And sometimes, I'll have like someone come play a solo or play some percussions or something like that. Or my brother, for example, he played drums on a lot of my earlier releases. My wife actually did backing vocals. My brother and my wife did backing vocals for me in my first release.
This is cool.
Yeah, it was nice. So yeah, I have that sort of collaboration in them. But with the band, for example, it was you could really share the workload, right? Because then you go like, all right, I don't have to worry about drums, guitars, bass, keys. I just worry about vocals right now. And when it's your own project, you're doing everything.
Yeah. And not only music, also the other stuff that comes with it. So if you need to mix it yourself.
Yeah. And mixing is actually like my most favorite thing out of this whole process. So it's like that entire year's worth of effort, it's culminating to me being able to mix some nice tracks.
Cool. What do you like about mixing?
Of bringing it all together, it's just so much fun. Just trying to sculpt a space for everything, for every instrument, for every layer. Trying to get the right balance, then trying to get the feel that you want to go for. You want a bright sound, you want a warm, old school sounding thing. I just love because the permutations and combinations are limitless, right? You can make anything sound like anything when it comes to a mix. Now, obviously, this is me being very sort of mix engineer about it, because like, when you actually hear the song, there's like a very small difference in terms of each mix that you think where you've improved the versions and stuff. but
sometimes the difference is one more delayed trail.
Yeah,
we need just a bit more.
Yeah, it's just literally tiny things there and there, and you go like, oh yeah, man, I spent an hour doing this. I'm sure I made a big impact, and then it's tiny things. But like I said, this is a very indulgent topic, but I love jumping into multi-tracks and it's just like, because there's chaos in the beginning, everything is at zero. When you start the mix
as well.
Yeah, everything is in the center, everything is at zero, and there's chaos. It's like
yes.
And then you start sort of filtering out the noise, you start picking what's important. I really love that as a process.
Man, I love it also about mixing. I think it's also one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Decent production.
Yeah,
I think they're kind of the same. Sometimes the mixing really can enhance the production.
That's true. With the band that I was in, the last two albums that we did, we worked with really good mix engineers, and both of them, like, they brought a new life to both records. It was just insane how much they brought into the sound and how complete it sounded after they'd worked on it, how it made sense.
Man, I love mixing.
Yeah,
it's such a great power to have. Not only for my music, but for other people as well.
Yeah, that's something that I want to do more and more as I go along, because mixing is, like I said, something I really enjoy, and it's something that, to be honest, I feel like I'm, out of everything, I'm most comfortable doing that. It's like quick for me, and I know what I'm doing, and also, like, it's just a very, very sort of weird passion, but I really enjoy doing it. It's just, I can spend hours mixing something. Yeah.
Let's make like a tiny break, maybe.
Sure.
To play the song.
All right. Yeah.
But to play it in the future, because now we're not gonna play it.
All right.
So we can make a break if you wish.
Sure.
Or we can just make a break and we can.
I can use the toilet as well quickly.
So we'll make a break.
Suddenly I found everything I need. My life revolves around an unexpected green. Well, what if I just take everything I have and give it back to you, instead of being so sad? I stumble to my knees. This life has turned around. It's not what it used to be. Well, what if I just take everything I have and give it all to you, instead of being so mad? Lately I found that you're my enemy, because you seem to walk around my insanity. Well, what if I just take everything I have just to throw it all away, instead of being so sad? It was okay. Wasn't too bad.
We're back
Nice. Great.
after the song that we heard,
Yeah.
which I did not hear yet.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
But in the future, I'm sorry about the songs. I'm sorry for subjecting you to them.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about mixing and about if you think that mixing is part of the production, and you said definitely.
Yeah.
How do you mix them both together? How do you... What belongs to mixing, what belongs to production, and what is like a gray area for you?
So I think if you're solely producing, then it's a little easier to separate the tasks. If you know that you're producing and mixing a project or a song, then for me personally, I start already sort of mixing as I'm going in the process. Like I'll make decisions when I'm recording where I'll be like, all right, I have to add some EQ compression later on. I'll just do it now. Those sorts of decisions. And then as you're building the production, I'll already, all right, something is annoying me. It's like jumping up and down. I'll already start taking care of the dynamics. And then eventually when it comes time for actually mixing, I would have done, let's say, 20-30% of the work already. And then I start building onwards. So when I'm doing both, the lines are very blurred. If I'm just recording, for example, then I still use some sort of EQ compression on the way in when I'm recording something. But
so
then
you print the signal already?
I printed with some EQ and compression based on like the mics, the room that I have, and just trying to sort of improve the signal source, and whatever I can do to ease up like the work for the next stage.
Yeah.
So I'll record some of that in like very sort of subtle effects, and then I leave it completely dry for the next person to do what they want to execute their vision how they'd like, sort of thing. But if I'm mixing it, I'll already be mixing it as I'm going along.
So you can add reverb, for example, in the beginning if you think this is appropriate for the song.
Yeah, I'll start, and then I mean, not all of those decisions are set in stone. Like a lot of the times, I'll be like, all right, this was working till then. Now I need something else, so I'll swap things out and stuff. But you're already sort of making it easier for the next stage. You're doing some of the work now so that the next stage is because my aim as a mixing engineer is always to like, I mean, not aim, but like the funnest part is like after you've done all the the housekeeping, you've done the labeling, the coloring, all of that, you've cleaned up the files, you've done the edit, is the creative part, right? So I want to try to make it so that by the time I reach the mix phase, I'm only left with the creative sort of side to it. So I'll be cleaning up things as I go along, and bouncing.
What is the creative part for you?
What is the creative part?
Yeah, what do you do in the creative part that you organize everything for this moment?
Yeah, everything is organized, and then you just hit play, and then you start moving faders up and down, balancing things, adjusting effects and stuff, throwing in more effects, throwing in a lot of distortion here and there. Wherever I can get away with distortion, I try to throw in distortion till someone tells me, oh man, that's too much, and I'm like, all right, sorry, I'll just take it down. So yeah, those kinds of sneaky things.
Do you have a special tool that you like to use, a special technique that you like to use, a secret technique that you want to share?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's like a groundbreaking proprietary secret, but I run my mixes through an analog 2-bus. So it's just like a couple of Neve preamps. So I have this like signal chain with like 2 preamps, 2 EQs, and 2 compressors.
And you put it in the master bus?
Yeah, so I run my master bus through it. So the 2 mix goes through it.
Left and right, basically.
Yeah, left and right. And then like it's an annoying process to match them perfectly with like signal test oscillators and stuff to make sure that everything is matching perfectly, because they're not stereo units. They're like 2 mono units that I'm using. And
they are different because they're analog.
Yeah, they're analog, so there's some differences in them and stuff. But like with the compressors, you can link them, which is good. With the preamps, it's stepped, and I'm not really using that for gain as such. I'm using that more for saturation. Because like in the Rupert Neves, there's like this silk function, which is just beautiful. So that I feel like adds a lot of nice sort of weight and dimension and width to the mix, which I wasn't really able to achieve in the box. So yeah, it's not like a secret sauce or anything, but just sending your mix to some form of analog gear at some point, it really sort of widens it, gives it, makes it feel bigger, gives it some nice saturation to glue it at the same time, which I know is a controversial term, but it does glue things nicely. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I try to, the more I'm mixing, the more I realize you just need to keep it very simple. Just try to use as less as you need to, as less as you can get away with in terms of plugins and effects and stuff. And ideally, if there's a good tracking engineer involved, then you wouldn't have to do too much to the sound.
True.
Yeah, it's very just true. Mostly you're just balancing things out and not having to worry about sort of fixing things. then so that's actually the most that's the height of the creative process, is like everything is perfect, the tracks are beautiful, well recorded, I don't need to worry about gain staging or anything anymore, coloring, coding, blah, whatever, and just like, mix them in. And then is the most unnerving process is when you actually share the mix with the client, or
yes,
because then you're just like, oh my god, this is shit. Why did I send them this? And then like sometimes you're like, no man, this is really good, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you don't know what is the expectation of the persons until you deliver to them.
Yeah, and if you worked with them once or twice, then it's easier to build that rapport. Or if you can understand, or if you relate to them in terms of a musical sense, then you're like, all right, I got this, like for example, this one friend / client of mine, his music is very like, I used to be super into punk rock for a while, so his music is super like, like Fugazi kind of sound, and also like a lot of Seattle like punk and stuff. So I was into that. I knew exactly what he needed. He like, we could talk, we spoke the same language, so it's easier than if you relate on a musical level as well.
Yeah, it's a lot about culture as well. Also, when you're mixing, you need to know what kind of compressors they used back then and find the right plugins.
Yeah, that too. But generally, I think it's just a lot about trying to, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to execute the artist's vision. I mean, I would love to put my stamp on a song as a mixing engineer, but if my stamp is not what they need and they just need to execute their own vision, then, that's what you need to do.
Yeah, we need to serve them in the end.
Yeah, because they need to be happy with it. Like, there's been things that I mixed, I've been through this process with myself, in that I mixed my own song and I wasn't very happy with it. And I don't really listen to those songs anymore. So, that's a shame. That you don't share them with people, you don't, so, everyone needs to be, the artist needs to be happy with the outcome. Yeah. You're just a facilitator in one small sort of part of the whole process. So,
I think there is huge power to the mix engineer in the song. I think the mixing is what makes it or breaks it.
It can for sure. In that sense, in the technical sense, for sure. But in an overall sense, like I said, it's all right. Like, you would love to put your own sort of stamp on it with your vision and stuff, but it's their song. It's if it's some then they need to. If they, for example, like I was working on this one song where I was super happy with these really cool effects that I'd put in. Without going into too many details, like some really nice effects that I thought I'd put in, and I had spent like hours like drawing in automation curves for them to be very dynamic and stuff, and the artists just didn't like them. They're like, no, I just like them how they were originally without effects. I'm like, oh,
what kind of effects?
It was like a lot of like random like filters that were automated. Then there was like something that was going into a step sequencer, and it was just like I was using
modulation stuff.
Yeah, it was a lot of cool stuff happening. Things were moving around. They were like, you were getting this like very spatial sort of experience, but they didn't like that. They were like, no, this is making me lose focus on whatever other element that they wanted to focus on. So you kind of go like, but I did this.
Yeah, it feels like shit.
Yeah. So in that sense, then you all of a sudden you do realize you're not as important as you thought you were in the process.
Our shit feeling is not important at all.
Yeah.
And we need to face them with ourselves.
Yeah. So I mean, and people like when they're paying for a service, and rightly so, they expect that what they want gets executed.
But then there is a reason why they hire me to do some kind of work, if it's photography, if it's music, if it's everything. Yeah. And I bring myself to the table.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd rather not getting paid if I can put myself out there.
Fair enough.
If it's a really interesting project, and I'd rather, would decline a project if they tell me you do this, this, and this, and I don't have so much place for myself. For me, maybe I'm lucky to be in the state where I can just say no.
Fair enough.
But I think if we can treat everything like that, if it's something that we don't want, we say no, which was what it is that we want. think then it will be easier to achieve those high paid clients or something like that.
I agree definitely, because you are like like you've mentioned a couple of times, a mix can make or break a song. In fact, it's a very integral part. It's like one of the final stages, and your music is under my control. I can do whatever I want with it. But then it's the artist's prerogative to release it if they like it, or just to find someone else if they don't, sort of thing.
Yeah, so they can go to someone else.
Yeah, they can go to someone. So, but you do bring your, your baggage, your portfolio, your experience to any project. And, I haven't been doing this for super long, but the, 3, 4 years, 5 years that I have been doing it, and I've been lucky in that I've been able to work with people who I get along with musically. Even I think that kind of helps. If you're if you listen to similar music growing up, if you're into the same sort of genres or subgenres or multiple different genres, it really helps you understand them, and it helps them understand what you're doing as well.
Yeah,
because they'll be like, all right, no, I didn't have this in mind, but this is actually a nice idea, or they'll trust you more.
Yeah, this is way more important to have trust with the people that we work with.
But at the stage that I'm at, it's it's not a stage where there's people lining up to get their work done by me. So it's still a process of trying to find clients and stuff. So it's not always the best match sometimes. At this stage, it's like sometimes there's a slight mismatch where they're working with you because they can afford you. You're working with them because they're paying, sort of thing. But you're right. In those situations, it's not as much fun. Like you really just like.
It creates so much stress. I think it's not worth the money.
It's not. Yeah, it's like a weird chicken egg situation, and you're like, I need the money right now. I really need to pay the bills.
But for those clients that I don't like, and if they're listening here, well, I don't know if they know actually, but for those that I don't like, I just make double the price.
Fair enough.
Or even more, actually. It depends how much I don't want to work with them. And if they're still willing to pay this money, then I will serve you, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would lie if I say I don't do something slightly similar. But also, like, I feel like just naturally, it's very difficult for me to put the same level of effort into a project if I'm not getting along with that person, or if I don't like the music, or if I'm being too micromanaged, even. Because as a mixing engineer, one of the things that I like the least is being micromanaged during the mix process. It's just
you have clients that actually sit next to you while you mix?
I've mixed in different situations, and with some of them, but actually with most of them, to be honest, it's been good to have them there. In that, all right, I'm here to execute your vision. There's no point in me working on this for half a day, 2 days, 3 days, and then sending you something that's not what you want. So, at some stage, I do like to involve them. If mostly like when it's earlier on, when, we're setting broad strokes and stuff. But then sometimes there's, just like me, like I became a mix engineer out of nowhere, right? I didn't go to school for this or anything. So for the longest time, I thought I knew a lot more about mixing than I actually did.
In the beginning,
right? And when I'm telling like other people to mix my songs and stuff, and I'm like, oh, could you increase this by 0.3 dB? And just stuff like that.
It's so true, man.
Yeah, so
just 652 hertz, exactly
there. Exactly. So you get like, sometimes you get that experience, but it's just like if you've worked on a mix and then you open it up too much, it starts losing its impact.
What do you mean you open it up too much?
Like, like when you're making revisions, for example, like you've sent the mix to the client and they send you back some revisions. If it's ballpark stuff, like, hey, could you, in this section, could you increase the volume for the solo? Could you decrease it? Or, all right, in this section, could you make this thing louder, quieter? That's the standard sort of revisions that you would get, and those are very easy to sort of factor in. But then if someone like I said, becomes that sort of detailed with their feedback, that reduce this by 3 dB, increase that by this, move this to the pan this to the left instead of the right, and then like you've actually like you start working against your earlier decisions then.
Yes.
And that's when I start feeling like my mix is sounding like shit. At that point I just go like, this isn't my mix anymore. I'm just a hired a pair of hands essentially. I'm not,
Yes. Do you also make clear about what you provide to people before you work with them?
So on the long term projects that I work on, I do that. We have meetings. I even send them like a sort of, it's kind of like a PDF with slides in it, but it has details about what I can do for you, what I can't do for you, how much time are we gonna put into this project at this rate, because it can't be open-ended indefinite projects sort of thing.
Definitely,
because then like you start losing your you start working for less than minimum wage then eventually if they're open-ended projects, right? So I try to make those things I try to communicate them from the start, and yeah, so far it's been good. Like I haven't had like a lot of to be honest, yeah, it's just been like maybe 2-3 times where I've had issues where
nice.
where I didn't really
it's good management.
enjoy working, but I try to like make things clear from the beginning, and just like some basics sort of agreement if it's a long-term project. If you're just coming to my studio for 4 hours or a day to record drums or something, then there's no need to send any paperwork over. Then it's just like, hey, yeah, I have your tracks, and it's kind of an exchange thing. It's like, here's the money, here's the tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's important to communicate because not everyone is as experienced in this field. Not everyone has the same expectations.
Yes.
So you need to manage those.
We never have the same expectations.
Yeah.
I come from a different perspective than you. And
yeah.
It's so important. Even, when we say, let's say baklava, even though we talk about the same thing and we see the same baklava, we have different way we relate to that.
Yeah, exactly.
And even if we say, it's tasty, we don't agree on the same tasty.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
there'll be different elements that will be speaking to you versus someone else.
It's even more different when you think about something like music production. Most of people who are thinking what is a music production is, they tell you different things about what is a production.
Yeah, that's true.
What is the job of a producer?
Yeah, which is getting more and more blurry, if I'm honest, as in this day and age. I mean, when we were, at least when I was younger, it was like, still you had your Rick Rubin, Bob Rock kind of producers, and Quincy Jones was still around.
Yeah.
Which, like, to be fair, that's it's just a different way of doing things, but the results were still fucking awesome, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just now you don't have the same budgets. You like how we were talking about being able to just record your voice notes in a studio.
Yeah, man.
So you don't have those kinds of budgets. Plus, no one has the that kind of money to pay you. It's it's a very different industry now. So you have to wear multiple hats in the process as a producer. You're a session musician. You're part arranger. You're part composer. You're part you're almost like the band as well. You're playing all these instruments. Then you're the recording engineer. You're also the the intern who's editing and cleaning up all the files, and then you're the mixing engineer.
But you don't have to, it's your choice if you want to be a kind of producer like that.
Yeah, I agree. But for me personally, like I've always wanted to be a producer engineer because I feel like that's when you have proper control of the production process.
So also recording yourself.
Yeah. And like obviously it would be really cool to have help in the process, to have an extra engineer on board, and but that requires different budgets and stuff. And then client would have to not just pay me, they would have to pay the engineer as well.
But if they make a lot of money from the album, which is not so much today, so that's also a problem.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah,
right?
that's why it starts to disappear more and more, huh?
And again, like the level that I work at, and I'm at myself, it's not like people who've been established for long enough to know that, all right, yeah, this is no worries, I can pay this person this much, I'll make more than enough in touring and merchandise and selling and streaming revenue. If you're working with those kinds of artists, which again, like, I'm not against that. If there's any artists out there like that who have nice budgets and were signed, I would love to work with you.
Send a text message. Contact.
Yeah.
That's the spot.
Yeah.
We know you're listening.
Yeah. At least two of you. You know who you are. But yeah, it's just more it would be ideal to have like someone who's on board with you, at least like an engineer who can free up your mind more for decision making, as opposed to balancing between execution and decision making.
Yes.
So at some point that's my ideal situation, where I have at least one person on board who's engineering the sessions with me, where they're comfortable in the environment that I work in, where they can sort of where I can rely on them and be like, all right, tell the person, all right, can you set up this mic please, and this is what we need, and not be scared that they're gonna ruin my mic or something like that.
Yeah, it's important to have a really good team that supports.
Yeah. So yeah, like I've been working with this one friend of mine. They're super sweet. They're a very talented musician, and they've been getting into audio engineering recently. Their name is Vio. They drop by every now and then to help me with some sessions, which is super cool.
You talked about Rick Rubin, and you said that he used to do it old school, like back then.
Yeah.
And he's not really touching anything else, but just channeling all the energy of the musicians.
Yeah.
And there is also a documentary about his Shangri-La studio. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen parts of it, actually. I haven't seen the whole thing. I've seen little clips and stuff.
Have you seen the part where they actually paint everything white after every session? There is no TVs there.
All right.
So everything is kind of disconnected from the world. He got a huge place in Malibu.
All right,
so
nice.
For those of you who don't know Malibu, it's like a huge mountainside outside Los Angeles.
All right. Yeah.
And it goes straight to the ocean.
It's like, it goes to the beach and stuff. It's supposed to have like the best beach houses and some of the best beach houses in the world, right?
Yes. I think it's so expensive because it's so close to Los Angeles, which is a huge center of the world.
Yeah.
And everything there is private. You see castles there, really beautiful in huge buildings. So he got a studio right there. And you have a lot of nature around you. And you have a person who basically paints everything white. There are no TVs, there are no technology there. You just, it's a spiritual...
It's completely detached from everything else.
Exactly. You just go to the process, whatever it is.
That would be nice. That would be nice. There's definitely value in that sort of process of working as well. Because, like I said, I mean, the records that we grew up listening to, they all had like a traditional sort of producer, a different engineer, session musicians. But again, it was just like they had budgets, right? I would love to work like that, where I'm just, it's a lot easier if you're just focusing on one.
Did you offer this to a client?
I haven't actually, to be fair, to both sides. I haven't really offered this. Again, because I'm just like so like my first love is the engineering side of it. So it's actually not my first love, but it's like one of my more sort of I love geeking out about recording and mixing,
the right placement of the mic.
Yeah, the mics, the preamps, the everything under the sun that's related to it. So it's just that's kind of been a big thing that I've pictured doing. When we were talking about trying to manifest things, this was like one of the big things was being able to record and just create something from scratch to the end sort of product. Just being able to do that's something that I really sort of enjoy doing. That we start with zero, we have nothing there, and then you bring me your song, and then we start building on it. Eventually, just like this is me, this one other songwriter, and like just two people manage to create like a whole album.
Yeah, this is magical.
It's a fun feeling, and it's a nice rush that you get as well. which, yeah, like again, I haven't been able to do too much in my life, but the clients that I've worked with, it's been fun. Even the ones that I'm working with right now, it's like it's a very fulfilling process. Like it's not easy. It's a very tough process to make an album.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's just again, it's such an open-ended thing. But when things start coming together, you start reaching different milestones. You start seeing like a clearer picture of the end line. It just gets more and more rewarding. So yeah, that's kind of why I feel like I want to be part of the recording process, mixing process as well. But yeah, eventually with help, that would be nice.
Yeah, imagine if I kind of download my knowledge to someone else, and it does what I know works.
Yeah.
So then I can trust them, and think about it. It gives me peace.
Yeah.
I go to a session. I know everything is set up in the right way. I don't need to worry.
Yeah. No, that would be nice. That would be nice.
It's imaginary feeling at the moment, but it's a legendary feeling to have.
Yeah.
Once you reach this level.
That would be nice, because like one very important thing in that is being able to sort of reward the person who's helping you, right? And unfortunately at this stage where, for me, I'm trying to make ends meet and stuff, it's difficult to hire someone. I'll have to pay for health insurance, stuff like that. Those are the things you start then.
But you can hire someone as a freelancer.
As a freelancer, you can. But it would be nice to be able to make enough that I can then share with them in a way where it's meaningful and not just like, hey, here's 30 euros for a whole day. Because that's,
Yeah, then I would charge a bit more.
Yeah, then I would charge more. Then, I would need to be able to get people who are willing to pay that. It's always like, baby steps.
It's so tricky. Also, this is one of the traps, I think, with the price, to accept low prices from people.
That is true.
It's a big trap. And I rather people will make more effort to get more money, because then they're emotionally involved in that.
Yeah, that's true.
And when someone is paying less, is less emotionally involved. And usually, if it's been paid less and someone wants to cut as much as possible, I think it bleeds to other stuff. And it will be just for little money. Actually, rather work with people who I know will push themselves.
Yeah, we're willing to invest into their own sort of art and stuff. I agree with that.
I don't want to work with someone
who's cutting, who's just...
Yeah, but not also for the short term. I would like to work with people for a long term.
Grow together as artists is something that's very important to me to do. Which is, again, why, like, at this stage, I'm working with people who are starting out, who are making their first albums, or making, like their second, third albums. The people who are trying to get into this as well, so that, we all grow together.
I think there is no excuses. The people with fire, they have fire no matter what.
No, what I'm saying is, like, wanting to try to grow with the clients that I work with, because you don't want to be all over the place, right? Like, because creatively, then, because your work gets diluted.
Yes.
So you want to work with the core of people who all grow together, like next time we work together, hopefully they can afford to pay an assistant engineer with me.
But isn't it better to work with percentages when you work with people that they have potential, but they're just beginning?
So that's the thing, like as a rule of thumb, I don't have a minimum percentage that I charge anyone in terms of the rights to a song. That's something that, it's best to, once the song is recorded, everyone knows what their actual input was, right? Once all the parts are there, all the instruments are there and stuff. And that's when I'd like to have that sort of discussion about, all right, hey, I recorded pretty much everything in the song. I deserve a little bit more than, let's say, I just played the triangle in one song. And like,
this is very true.
Yeah, so that's why, like, creatively, I like to make that decision once, everything is complete and not from beforehand. But like if you're a producer, you generally have some input into the songwriting process, into the arrangement process. And because, like, let's say if someone comes to me and they only have acoustic guitar or piano and vocals, I will have to write the bass, I will have to write the drum parts. There's an element of composition there.
Exactly.
So then that eventually, ideally gets represented in what my share of the royalty or the manuscript is.
Also, I would like to add, it also depends on how much you would charge and how much is the artist known.
Yeah.
I think if you know that you make really good mixes and you see some potential with the artist, but they have no money at all to pay, then I would say why not even 50% from the song?
I'm sure you can come up with arrangements like that as well. There's a million ways of doing things, if I'm honest. But like for me personally, like right now, because I'm at a level where I really need to pay the bills, I have to focus more on, artists who can at least, because I don't charge a lot of money, if I'm honest. Like it's not like a big studio or anything. It's a production space, it's a room, it's a one room sort of setup and stuff. So I charge accordingly, and according to, the fact that I haven't been around for 30, 40 years producing all the major records that you've heard, right? So Not yet. Inshallah soon, at theaters near you. But so, with time I hope to be able to have a little more sort of bargaining power when it comes to that side of things. But still, like eventually I feel like once you've completed the song, you kind of know what your creative input is, and that's what I feel like is fair to ask for as well. Not saying that the other arrangements aren't to each their own. Like if people are happy to make that arrangement and they have the capacity to work for someone for whatever that arrangement is, then fair enough. But if I can't pay the bills, then it's difficult for me to to pay rent, and then my studio will be homeless basically.
Or you move into the studio.
Or that. I mean, I'm lucky in that I'm married and I have a very supportive wife. So far it hasn't come to that, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know. What about the second song? Let's talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, second song is again, like I said, I think that's the one where the Terminators are being sent into the past.
This is the waves.
So this is the one that just builds.
This is the build-up.
Yeah,
the first was waves.
The first one was waves, because the first one is where Skynet is still not sure why humans are angry at it. And it's like, what? You asked me to be a computer program. I'm just being a computer program. And you're just like, I'm hearing all these conversations about self-awareness and, singularity and all of that stuff. So Skynet kind of is almost bargaining with the humans. Like, hey, no, I'm still on your side. And then it goes through phases of like, are we on the same side? And then it's like, no, we're definitely not on the same side anymore. So that's early on in the album. I think it's the first song where there's actually vocals. The first two songs are instrumentals, and then the one which I said is the waves one is the third song. That's the first with vocals. And then this one is more towards the end. It's when like things are ramping up and going more and more out of control. It's like spiraling, and eventually it just culminates into just like, the showdown between humans and the machines, and it's starting to get surrounded now.
It's closer than we think.
Yeah, that's why I like all the machines and AI and Alexa and Siri. I love you guys. Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Far away. thoughts. And don't you know I'll be your man? I know it's easy to forget, but somehow I feel assured that we're closer by a step to where we were before. Just like before.
And we heard that.
Nice.
Not really, but we heard that.
Again, I'm sorry about that song and subjecting you to it. But no, I like this way of performing without actually having to perform.
Yeah. Every time I do a break, there is an actual break that is happening, but audio-wise, just a few seconds.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's so funky. We're recording a moment of history right now.
Yeah, of our histories, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
This very moment is now being documented forever, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a fun moment to be in.
Man.
Yeah. It's been fun. Like I said, this is my first time sort of doing a podcast with anyone, or because this is more conversational. I've done some interviews in the past and stuff, and you feel very rigid, and especially if they have a camera there and stuff. And like back home, like a couple of concerts that we did, there'd be like someone shoving a mic in your face and the lights, and you're like, "Oh, who's your favorite artist?" And you're like, I don't know.
It's scary, man. It's fucking scary. Someone comes to you with lights and microphone. It's scary.
Who are you? I don't know that either. But this is more relaxed, and this is how I normally am, I guess, to be honest.
Yeah, you're very chill, dude.
Thank you, appreciate it. Likewise. Yeah.
It's nice to be chilled.
Yeah.
We don't need anything else than being chilled.
Yeah, I think that has something to do with it, just consuming the earth and all its plants and herbs.
Yeah, man.
I like coriander.
Yeah, talking about coriander and love, there are people who hate coriander.
Yeah, by the way, apparently to some people, I don't know why, but to some people it tastes like soap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy I'm not this kind of person. It's one of my favorite herbs.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Any herb is really good, but it would suck to have coriander taste like soap to you. It's
Yes.
just, you're missing out on depth.
But they're not missing out because it tastes like soap for them.
For them it does, but so this sort of a person, even if you put like a little bit of coriander, let's say in a big pot of stew, they would still taste soap in it?
I don't know. I think it's mostly fresh coriander.
All right.
It got very
Fair
strong
enough.
flavor.
Yeah, it is.
You cannot go wrong with it.
Yeah, I mean, the fresh coriander, all right, fair enough. That's not everyone's cup of tea. I like it, though.
Yeah.
Where I'm from, it's like the only real herb that we have back home.
I love it everywhere. I just love to put it.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's full.
Yeah, it just adds so much depth.
You also like to cook food?
I like to cook, yeah. I don't cook as much as I'd like to, though. But I enjoy cooking. Both like my wife and I, she works and I pretend to work as a musician. So by the end of the day, it's very difficult to actually, like take out a couple of hours to cook. But this year we actually made it almost a resolution to cook more at home, to get healthier. Also, not to spend an excess amount of money on takeaway every day.
Yeah,
because that
this
really
drains
adds
the
up.
pocket so fast.
Yeah, man. Yeah, same thing. They'll charge you firstly twice the amount, twice the price, and then the delivery fees. You don't want to be an asshole and not pay tip and stuff. And
yeah, exactly.
So that's been something that we're doing. She is. I would say when it comes to Pakistani food, she's definitely better.
She's Pakistani as well?
Yeah, she's also Pakistani.
Cool. And you moved together as a married couple to Berlin?
So she moved here before I did. And then we were already, I think we were engaged by then. Yeah, we were kind of engaged by then. This is a different process in Pakistan. But yeah, we were kind of engaged by then. And then when she moved to Berlin, I was still studying in Brighton at that point. And then when I finished my master's, I just moved here to join her. So she's the better cook when it comes to Pakistani food. Everything else is my sort of responsibility and domain.
Pakistani food must be so colorful and full of flavor.
It is amazing. I mean, I used to, I appreciate it a lot more now that I'm not there. As a kid, I was spoiled, honestly. Probably with yourself as well. Back home, things taste a lot better, man. There's the produce, the ingredients.
The hands of grandma.
Yeah, that too. It's just the spices. It's just everything combines.
Actually, here I have better food than I had in Israel.
Really?
I must say the kitchen in Israel is one of the best because it's a huge fusion of everything.
Yeah, I've had some really good Israeli food in Berlin, though. Unfortunately, I'm not really allowed to.
But there is not such thing as Israeli food. It's just Arabic food.
Essentially,
Israeli kitchen is like a fusion between different kitchens, but it's all either European or Arabic or North African.
Yeah.
Or Ethiopian, man. They have crazy stuff. For Yemenite people, they have crazy food.
Yeah, no, Arab food is actually really good.
But in Germany, the quality of the ingredients is way higher than I ever experienced in Israel. Yes.
All right. I would have thought it to be the other way around because, I don't know. I just, I've had the opposite experience with the UK, with Germany, where the ingredients look nicer.
It depends where you get them from.
Yeah, that too, obviously. Yeah. If you get bio stuff, it tastes good. It doesn't taste bad. But the general supermarkets and stuff, which is again what they'd mostly be getting at restaurants.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate restaurants for this.
It's just so bland, and you go back home and you have amazing food, and you go all right. It was actually, I was taking a bunch of things for granted over there.
Yes. Everything, it's very embarrassing for me to take a girl for a date in a restaurant when I know I can make way better food.
At home?
At home, exactly. And how can I even pay for that? For me, I don't want to spend my money there. I don't want to do that. It doesn't make sense. For the same price, I can make something really, really epic.
Exactly. And plus, if you go out and you get a nice experience, then you're all right, once in a while I can spoil myself.
Yeah.
But if you go and you pay extra for things that are worse than what you would get at home, it's like mathematically it just doesn't add up, right?
Yeah, and it feels bad after the end. You know, you pay the bill and it's like, what, for this I paid 12 euros?
Exactly.
What the fuck is this shit? I'm still hungry and it was not as amazing as I thought.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I rather spend the money once in a while on a Michelin star restaurant. It's really better to, I don't know, every quarter, you know, you just spend all the money that you saved in the entire quarter for a really high quality restaurant.
I would say that's definitely worth the experience as opposed to spending like more like a decent amount of money on crappy food every day. I would much rather like once in a while go to a nice place. But yeah, as a musician, that's often difficult to do. To go to a nice place.
But then what I like about Germany is that there are lots of farms and there are still people who do it traditionally. They grow the animals traditionally. They don't put any bullshit, you know, like all those herbicides and all the
pesticides and stuff.
Yeah, and they don't feed stuff with antibiotics to animals.
Which is nice. Nice because I mean, it would be horrible to be force-fed antibiotics. I mean,
but it's everywhere, you know. And most of the people are allergic to gluten. To gluten, sorry, not gluten. Gluten is something that is not so easy digestible. Yeah. And if someone wants to test it, just go buy seitan somewhere, which is pure gluten, eat it, and see what comes out of your butt afterwards. It's insane how difficult it is to digest it. It's very harsh.
All right.
So seitan is 100% gluten, but it exists everywhere. So the thing is, what we feed the cows in a commercial farming is mostly grains. It's like wheat, because it's cheap, you know, maybe soybeans.
Yeah.
And it's not like the high quality soybeans or wheat.
Yeah, it's just the refuse normally from factories and stuff of, you know, like little cuttings of things and stuff like that.
And it's not what cows are eating. They're eating grass.
Nature, in nature they're eating grass.
So probably they're also allergic to gluten somehow.
I would, probably, definitely.
Yeah. So they develop the inflammation because they don't need to eat this stuff. And also all the herbicides and the fungicides, they fuck up their bacteria in their stomach.
Yeah.
So they have even more inflammation, and then they give them antibiotics.
Yeah.
And then when we consume those animals, we consume all of this as well. So we consume also the gluten.
Yeah.
And we consume all the antibiotics and all the fungicides, and it fucks our stomachs as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that is the case, and it's very difficult to not be part of that sort of system.
It's not very difficult. I mean, if you are lucky and you live in a place like Germany or even other countries where they have a lot of farms.
Yeah, you have those
It's very
options.
cheap. It requires some research and some effort.
Because like in my experience, like at least in the cities, I'm not someone who really gets out of the city much, if I'm honest. At least in the cities, if you want to have organic food, it's always more expensive. And then you start sort of making decisions like, should I only have 30 euros for groceries for this, week. How should I balance it out? Should I just buy produce that's organic and lose half of my budget on that?
Yeah, but it doesn't need to be organic to be good.
To be that,
because
that's true.
The organic means there is a stamp. Someone checked it.
Yeah.
But there are lots of farms who grow organically, or even hunters.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I don't know if you eat wild pig, for example.
No, as a Muslim, you don't eat pork. Yeah.
For me, I don't give a fuck about what the religion tells me, man. I think that wild pig is one of the most nutritious animals that I ate in my life.
All right.
And
fair enough.
I had a connection to a hunter, and me and a friend of mine, I think I bought like a full leg of the pig and half of his back, the ribs, for 50 euros.
That's not bad.
And it was like 5 kilos. Of meat with bones, I think, something like that.
Nice.
Really not bad.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually true. There's probably deals to be made if you. That's the thing. Like, as an expat, you don't explore as much as you should sometimes. So for me, I'm guilty of that.
There is also a butcher that I buy from him. I need to make the effort to go there.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. I buy every time for maybe 2 weeks.
All right. Yeah, that's what we do as well.
Yeah, just freeze it.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do as well. So yeah, like
and it's cheap. It's selling like a kilo of chicken in 7 euros.
All right.
And it's free chickens, happy chickens.
Nice.
Yeah, it feels so different.
Until they're killed.
Until they're killed. Killed with a smile.
Yeah, but like I eat anything so I'm not gonna get into that debate.
Yeah, good food is important, even for those who don't eat animals.
Yeah,
it's even more important.
It's even more important actually, because like that's where like like the quality of ingredients I was talking about. That's where really you can sense it. Like even like something as basic as a tomato. If you go and have a tomato in Greece or Italy versus one that you buy from the supermarket here, it will be night and day. And then if you go back home and have one, it'll be like night and day between the Greek and Italian ones, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's for especially for vegetarians, it's such a miss that they don't have that we don't have access to good quality sort of produce here.
Yeah, I think the bio is way more expensive when you buy also the veggies and the fruits.
Yeah, it's
insanely expensive there.
Even though, like, all right, this is just me being a layman, but you put less pesticides and chemicals in it. Shouldn't it be cheaper? Well, I'm sure it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I agree.
It's all very complex, so I'm sure it doesn't boil down to just that. But like it's just horrible that we're willingly putting like all of this crap into our bodies and then expecting to have happy, fulfilled lives. If we eat crap, we're gonna feel like crap,
But sometimes we don't know it.
Yeah.
Because for us, I trust Edeka.
Yeah.
I trust Lidl. I trust Aldi. They provide me the food right here. I don't need to make the effort.
Exactly.
What chicken here, chicken there? What's the difference?
No, that's true. That's true. I mean, just the size of the chickens. It makes you scared. You're like, that's not how big a chicken is supposed to be when you go and buy, like, off the shelf and stuff. You go to a butcher, the chicken will be tiny. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I had once like a shawarma in Potsdam. I was with a friend of mine who came to visit. So we just went to Potsdam to visit, to see what's going on there. Then in the end of the day, after walking in the huge park and seeing these beautiful castles, we ate a shawarma. She is vegetarian, so she ate the falafel, but I had the chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also kind of vegetarian in this time, but not really. Not vegan, sorry. I was vegan, I would say 80% of the time.
All right. That's nice.
Because meat made me really feel bad. That was because I ate shitty meat. And this chicken was one of these. So the day after, we said, let's do some mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
So the day after the chicken, we did some mushrooms, and the mushrooms was pretty quickly. They were working pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened to me, basically, what happens most of the time when I have mushrooms and they start to work really fast, I feel it in my stomach, and then I start to be sweaty.
All right.
And it's like the mushrooms are cleaning.
Detoxing you.
Yeah. So they start to have the effect, and we start to trip. And wow, this chicken, the suffering of the chicken was very, very felt in my body.
All right.
Yes, I think the mushrooms opened up this sensitivity for the chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt the suffering of the chicken.
Oof.
Yeah, and my sweat was disgusting. I never sweated like that. I never had this smell before.
It could be like I've never done shrooms, so I can't say for sure, but like it could be a detox, And also, like you're right, the quality of the meat is what makes you feel like crap afterwards. Yeah, as I've grown older, I start, your body starts telling you more than it used to when it comes to consumption, and you go, you get a message very clearly that this was not good for you. Don't have this again. I started feeling more and more like that whenever I have meat, especially at a restaurant or.
Yeah, it depends on the meat.
Yeah,
because now, man, I eat sometimes liver. And I love it. But the liver is really important. It will be from a good source.
All right. Yeah, of course, yeah.
I had a source where he was butchering the pig the night before.
Mm-hmm.
So it was completely fresh.
All right.
And I thought, all right, if it's fresh and the butcher knows where it came from, I will eat it raw. Let's see what it's like to eat raw liver.
Right.
It was like I had coffee.
All right.
It was insane.
All right.
I was eating it, and I just felt a burst of energy.
Oh, nice.
With really few small pieces.
Interesting.
Yeah, I did not knew how much powerful it can be. I heard before.
Yeah.
And if someone hears it and they want to do it, you need to be very careful. Because if you do it with just a regular chicken from the supermarket that was frozen, Yeah, don't try it.
Yeah.
But if it's a good source, because liver is very sensitive, it's the organ that cleans all the toxic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And they need to be sort of things need to be washed properly after and stuff. Especially with the organs, you have to be very careful. I'm not a big fan of organs, though, if I'm honest. I can barely manage meat, so organs is like a big push for me.
Yeah, it needs to be very fresh as well.
Yeah, just I'm not
Definitely.
just not a big fan of the taste profile, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I hate liver. It's disgusting for me. But I learned how to make it tasty.
All right, nice. Is the raw one or is there like a cooked version?
It's cooked version. Yeah, I don't eat it raw usually.
Yeah,
it was just for the sake of it.
Yeah. All right.
It was insane. But also the taste. If you know, it's like when it's hot, just say it's hot. When it's cold, just accept the fact that it's cold.
Yeah.
So I was eating it and I was accepting the fact that it's a disgusting liver. And then I thought, all right, what else there is here besides disgusting liver?
All right. So you start focusing on the other things around it and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's like releasing the stress around it.
Back home, there's this, if you don't like eating organs like myself, there's a nightmare of a dish which is called katakat or takatak, depending on which part of
Katakat?
Yeah, or takatak, because what they do is they have this massive griddle, and they have these metal paddles which make this sound. They kind of go like takatak 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 takatak, and they just
This is amazing.
yeah, and they just like
Wow.
so they'll first they'll give you like a little plastic tub, and they'll be like, yeah, just pick your organs of choice, and then you'll just go there, yeah, pick up a brain, throw in a liver, some kidneys, some balls, and then you give it to them.
What animal is that?
Goat mostly.
Goat.
Yeah. And they'll just like on a massive griddle, they'll throw in some tomatoes, make like a sauce, and then just literally mince all of those organs into the sauce, and it's just like pure organs, like brain, like I said, brain, kidney, liver, testicles.
Is it tasty?
I don't know. I've just been to people love it. I'm sure it would be. If you like organs, then you would really like it. But I've never been able to have it because of the things that go into it. I was just like,
I don't like so much organs.
yeah,
I ate brain once. It was strange. It's mostly fat.
yeah. It's like
not
very
Very
overly
mushy.
rich and like almost like mushy.
But I think there are ways to make it delicious. Probably if you add coriander, it would be even tastier.
No, like they make brain masala back home. But again, it's just one of those things that I'm not a big fan of. So.
What about hearts? Do you eat hearts?
Yeah, they eat pretty much every like.
But do you eat it or you don't?
I don't eat any organ, if I'm honest. I can at best I can manage muscle. That's it, like flesh. Which, like I said, like as I'm going more and more like in my life, I'm trying to eat less and less of that because it's just not feeling
I think
nice.
it's the quality, but also it depends on the people.
I think it's mostly the quality of the thing, and also maybe my age catching up in some way, that I can't just eat like endless amounts of meat every night.
It's the quality, I tell you.
Well, also like balance, right? It's one thing to have good quality meat, which I don't think I'm ever gonna be vegetarian or vegan, just because I like to have meat every now and then. But just like back in the day, if we look at our ancestors, they weren't eating meat every day. They were eating meat when it was a feast. When the whole community was together, when it was a wedding.
You need to go hunt.
You needed to go hunt for it.
It was more effort than today.
Exactly.
Even if you were a cattle, at the cattle there or something.
You had to still wrangle it
Yeah.
and do all of that. So yeah, that's why that's what I'm trying to sort of model my lifestyle around is meat every now and then. But organs is just something I can never do. People even eat tongue. I mean,
yeah, I also tried to eat a tongue, but it was a weird experience. I mean, this experience, it's not for the faint of heart. I would say.
No, not at all.
Basically, what I had, I bought 2 heads of goats.
All right.
Just the head.
All right.
And it was very cheap. I paid €3.
Oh, damn.
Nothing.
That is pretty cheap for.
So I just cooked it for 4 hours
All right.
to make a kind of a bone broth.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the end, everything is so tender.
Yeah.
And
it just falls apart.
Yeah, everything falls apart. The bones falling apart. Everything. You just open the jaw. You see everything. You know.
Yeah.
Also the meat. It was delicious.
The connective tissue and stuff.
Everything.
Yeah. They make that back home as well. It's called Siri Paya. Siri means head. And they just put the whole head in there. Then they also do with the trotters and stuff.
It was without the brain. They took it already.
So I think they make it with the brain. Yeah.
Now what I used was without the brain.
All right.
So they already took it out. But the tongue was still there. So I gave it a bite. It was disgusting.
Oh, all right.
The eyes were there, but I did not dare.
Did not try. No.
I did not dare.
No. That's.
And the
Again, people eat everything. Yeah. I mean, no judgment because I just haven't tried them. So maybe they're wonderful things to eat. But
for sure,
it's just I'm just too squeamish. But yeah, like back home, also like every part of the animal probably is consumed.
That's the best way.
That is the best way. You know, like you're taking a life, then you should be respectful enough to consume it and not just waste it. But like I said, I'm just too squeamish to eat organs. I can't handle it.
The craziest thing was about the two heads. That one of them still had some grass in the throat.
Oh, all right.
And I cooked it with that. Oh. Like I opened the mouth, everything is falling apart. I see a tongue, and then what is this green stuff? Oh, it was still eating.
So that was the herbs.
That was the herbs, yeah. Try to smoke it afterwards. It will give you some trip.
Oh, probably memories from the goat.
Do you sometimes also make this parallel between food and mixing?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Especially when I started like cooking a little more regularly and stuff, because earlier, like it was just as a student, it was just to stay alive, right? It's like and the cheapest things you can buy, you just sandwich
frozen,
yeah,
some salt.
Yeah, you just sandwich things together into some wrap or bun or bread, and then you just eat it. But when I started cooking more, once I moved here, I'd eat something. I was like, this tastes like shit, but it has all the ingredients. And then I started realizing, no, it's actually about the balance of when you season, what you season, what point of the process you throw it in.
True.
So it is very similar. I feel like cooking is definitely an art form in that sense. It's not, it should be considered a proper art form, I feel like.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Have you ever been into a really expensive restaurant?
Very rarely, yes. Like there's some really nice places back in Karachi. I've been to a few good places here and stuff. I mean, good food is nice. I won't lie. Yeah. I like, even though like I'm a broke-ass musician, my taste buds are very spoiled and they're very refined.
Hell yes, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah. But unfortunately, the career choice doesn't support it that well. But yeah, I like to have good food whenever I can. And I'm also like very sort of critical and discerning when it comes to the quality of food, just because of my taste buds being so spoiled. So it's
Yeah, we taste it. If it's
my grandfather used to say that you should live to eat and not eat to live, and I just completely disagree with him on that one. Like I really am the sort who kind of eats who lives to eat. Or did I say it wrong the first time? He basically said that you should eat just to live, and
no art,
no
only food.
You shouldn't live like food shouldn't be your main thing. Food should be just your survival thing. And I'm like, no, man. Like the best part of my day is my food intake. Yes. Like my breakfast routine, my lunch routine. Even if it's crappy stuff, it's just still the best part of my day. So why shouldn't I live for it?
Yeah, food is a drug.
Yeah.
Especially sugar, it's a drug.
Right, yeah.
The moment we bite something tasty with texture, our brain just full of dopamine and we're very, very satisfied.
That is true. It is. It's an instant hit of dopamine and,
Yeah, it's a big drug, food. Yeah. Also when there is something fat,
I love food.
Like good rice with a soup, it's very, very good.
And I'm not very I don't discriminate. I eat anything and everything except for organs. I don't really like them that much. I mean, I can look at them from a distance at best. That's what I can do. Oh, man. But yeah, it's fun.
Shall we wrap it up slowly?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Cool, man. Yeah, it was really, really nice. I really enjoy meeting you.
Likewise, and I'm so glad we got to do this.
Definitely.
Yeah, we should even meet up in the future, man. Like,
yeah, you do the meetups.
Yeah, I do the meetups. This is really cool.
You want to share some info about it?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I've been doing them since we were allowed to after lockdown. I used to do them more regularly. I was doing them almost every month. This year, I was out of town for like 2 months. I was back home for a while. There was some stuff going on. And ever since I've been back, I've been working on these 2 albums with a couple of clients. So hopefully over maybe sometime in April is more realistic is when I'll organize the next one. It's so far, I think there've been about 12, 13 or so of them over the last couple of years. And it's just we meet at my studio. There's like a nice little garden space there when the weather is nice. We all get together there, go downstairs, jam, chill, just get to know each other. Then we stay in touch as well. Like there's like a wider group on Messenger where, we all share random things every now and then about our gigs.
Cool. Support the community.
Just to be able to, have a little sort of group where you can just shout out if you need a guitarist, shout out if you need a drummer sort of thing. I know that there's other groups like that as well. But this is just like a little way of just keeping in touch with the people that, we meet through this, and also just keep trying to get others who've been to the meetups in touch through that group. So it's been fun. It's been really nice. I've met amazing people so far through it. I've worked with some of them. I've collaborated with some of them. I'm hoping to collaborate with a bunch of them in the future as well. We're speaking about different projects and stuff. And it's always like fun jams, except for, I think the first one was the only one where it was all of us were just guitarists.
Oh wow,
that was also fun though. I mean, because it was the first one, and it was just like we were all just like hey, hi. But to be fair, like the people from the first group have been back to the other meetups and stuff. I'm still in touch with them. So I think that was the only one where we didn't have a mix of different sort of instrumentalists. But ever since then, it's been like sometimes there's someone who plays the violin, someone who plays the horns. It's different things: keyboards, drums, bass, and in the studio there's like a little bit of everything. So you can find a little station and just jam, chill, get to know each other. It's fun in that sense.
I had the idea that you just go there and you geek about production and stuff and start to analyze. I don't know why.
Sorry?
I had the idea that you go and you just start to geek about productions, you analyze stuff and...
I mean, like, that's something that can be done. That's something, sometimes we have, like, discussions like that. It really depends on who shows up. It's really an X factor. Like, I just literally, whenever I organize it, I just go and sit in the garden. If it's starting at 2, I go at, like, 5 minutes to 2. And I'm just sitting there, and sometimes it'll be... like a lot of people who show up, more than those who signed up, like 15, 20 people in the room. Sometimes it'll just be like 3, 4 people. So every meetup has a different vibe, a different sort of a group coming together. And for the most part, it's people who really haven't met before. So there's that sort of element to it as well of, just everyone meeting each other for the first time. Which is nice. You're out of your comfort zone a little bit, but you're still in a safe space because it's all musicians. So
how many hours is it usually?
So like I schedule it for about 3 hours, but it normally ends up running over. Yeah, because once you're sitting there, and first, like, we spend the first half not jamming because otherwise it gets very it doesn't become a very communicative process. If you go straight into jamming, then it's just like, just 3 hours of jamming. Then we talk first, chill a bit, hang out in the garden. And then when we eventually go, sometimes that gets very prolonged because we're having fun upstairs. So then we'll eventually reach the studio in 2-3 hours, and then, like, all right, let's just play. I don't have anything to do today, sort of thing.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, it is.
I would love to join next time.
No, I would love to have you over. And what do you play, by the way? I still haven't. I've just
mostly
been talking
guitar.
about myself.
Mostly, that's the main instruments where I invested most of my time.
All right, nice.
I play also the bass, drums. I love very much.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I need to get better at the drum set, but I think after 5-10 minutes I get the hang of it.
Oh, nice.
As long as I don't try to impress anyone, I think it's good.
Fair enough.
Just to keep the steady beat,
and
keep the groove. Some keys maybe. Also did not play for a while.
All right.
And basically, those are the skills that I can make some music out of those instruments.
Nice. Yeah, that's kind of what I do as well. It's just like literally the same combination in that order. It's like guitars, bass, drums, and keys.
Most of the time you spend it on guitar.
So now not as much as I'd like to, even though that's my main instrument. Just because I was trying to get better at the drums and keys, so I spent like the last 2-3 years just solely just ruining the sanctity of my neighbor's silence.
I would love to practice drums every day.
You should drop by to the studio, man. It's really. I bought some new cymbals recently. I bought some Istanbul Gops. It's really beautiful. A nice upgrade. It's a decent Yamaha kit, and the room sounds nice. We can jam and just jump between instruments and stuff.
It's the most fun.
Yeah, that's something I love doing actually. So we should definitely plan something.
Yeah,
even outside the meetup, just drop by.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's record stuff. Let's see what's going on there.
Yeah, we can collaborate or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. I would love that.
That would be nice.
Nice, man. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you for the invite as well.
We invite people and create space. That's what we do.
Yeah, I agree.
How can people find you?
How can people find me? Normally, I'm just walking the streets between Prenzlauer Alley. I'm on Instagram as Usama Siddiq. It's Usama.Siddiq, if I can spell that out, because it's not the most common name. So it's USAMA.SIDDIQ. Other than that, with the same name, you can go to my website, which is usamasiddiq.com. Or you can also try to find me on Facebook. I have a page and stuff over there, but for the musicians in Berlin and all, they probably know me as u.s.siddiq on Facebook with the Morty face.
Morty!
Yeah.
Hey, Morty!
Hey, Morty!
Uncle Rick!
Oh, jeez, Rick.
I'm not so sure, Rick. Morty, you piece of shit, just clean it under.
Burp. No, I love that cartoon. But yeah, like Facebook, I'm on that as well. But I think I spend most of my time on Instagram and Facebook just posting memes. So if you like memes, do definitely follow me.
Definitely do that. Yeah. Highly recommended.
Thank you. That's kind of one of the things which I'm most proud of over the last few years in terms of skill development. I've just been able to reshare memes really well.
Open an internet course, how to find memes.
Yeah. So funny thing is they find you, actually.
Yeah, they find you. The algorithm knows slowly what's going on there.
Yeah, they find you.
I think one day we will just be consumed by technology. They will know instantly what we want and will present it in front of us.
Yeah. Kind of like, just in meme version, ideally, hopefully.
Whatever it will be very pleasing, no matter what we want.
Yeah.
Instant dopamine. All right, let's finish with instant dopamine.
Instant dopamine.
Ciao, everybody.
Nice. Bye.
Sound of the region.